The shimmering mirage in the Mojave Desert conceals an alien beauty, lost and carrying a secret that could save humanity. Nathan Jenkins, a 35-year-old ex-Special Forces operative turned survivalist, squints against the harsh sunlight. His weathered face contorts as he spots the telltale distortion of a malfunctioning cloaking device. Sweat drips down Nathan's neck as he trudges through the scorching sand. The classified intel burns in his mind. Find the Nigerian alien named Kira before anyone else does. The fate of Earth hangs in the balance. Nathan's boots crunch on sun-baked earth as he approaches the flickering anomaly. His hand rests on his sidearm, ready for anything. Nigerians possess superhuman strength and agility, but after 3 days in this unforgiving wasteland, even an advanced alien might be weakened. The air ripples, and suddenly she's there. Kira collapses, her iridescent skin dulled by dehydration and exposure. Nathan rushes forward, catching her before she hits the ground. Her large, almond-shaped eyes flutter close as he lowers her gently. Nathan's training kicks in. He reaches for his canteen, supporting Kira's head as he administers water. Her delicate features captivate him. Alien, yet undeniably beautiful. The Nigerians, Earth's secretive cosmic neighbors, have observed humanity for decades. Now, one of their own lies helpless in Nathan's arms. As he tends to Kira, something catches his eye. A faint glow emanates from a pouch at her waist. Nathan's heart races as he carefully extracts a small, crystalline object. The data crystal. He'd been briefed on its existence, but seeing it firsthand sends a chill down his spine despite the oppressive heat. Kira's eyes snap open. She grasps Nathan's wrist with surprising strength. "Zarkov," she rasps, her voice otherworldly, yet filled with urgency. "Coming. Must warn." The pieces click into place. Kira, a low-ranking Nigerian scientist, had stolen this crystal and fled to Earth. The information it contains could be humanity's only hope against an impending invasion by the Zarkov, a warlike species bent on harvesting Earth's resources and enslaving its people. Nathan's mind reels. This unauthorized alien presence could shatter the delicate balance between Earth and the Nigerians. But the alternative, facing the Zarkov unprepared, is unthinkable. He activates his emergency beacon, praying his team receives the signal. Kira needs medical attention, and the crystal must reach safe hands. The fate of humanity now rests on their escape from this sun-bleached hell. A low rumble grows in the distance. Vehicles approaching fast. Friend or foe. Nathan tightens his grip on Kira and the crystal. Whatever comes racing across those dunes, he'll be ready. The most important mission of his life, of human history, begins now, in the unforgiving heart of the Mojave. The rumble grows louder, kicking up a cloud of dust on the horizon. Nathan's muscles tense as he shields Kira with his body, ready for whatever threat emerges from the shimmering heat waves. His grip on the sidearm loosens as familiar vehicles crest the dune. Relief washes over him as he recognizes the desert-modified SUVs of his team. Jake Martinez and Sarah Holmes, fellow ex-military operatives, leap from the vehicles before they've fully stopped. "Cutting it close, Jenkins," Jake calls out, his eyes darting between Nathan and the alien form in his arms. Sarah approaches cautiously, her gaze fixed on Kira. "Is that—" Nathan nods, already moving towards the lead SUV. "Help me get her inside. She needs medical attention, Stat." They work quickly, securing Kira in the back seat. Nathan cradles her head gently as Jake tosses him a bag of medical supplies. Just as Sarah slams the door shut, a series of explosions rock the desert floor, sending plumes of sand skyward. "Hostiles!" Jake shouts, diving for cover behind their vehicle. Through the settling dust, Nathan spots sleek, otherworldly hoverbikes approaching at breakneck speed. Their riders, unmistakably alien, wear armor that seems to shimmer and shift like oil on water. Zarkov scouts. Nathan growls, recognizing the description from his briefing. They must have tracked Kira's ship. Sarah leaps into the driver's seat of the lead SUV, engines roaring to life. Time to go. Nathan barely has time to secure himself, and Kira before Sarah floors it. The SUV lurches forward, kicking up a spray of sand. In the rearview mirror, he sees Jake peeling out in the second vehicle, providing cover. What follows is a heart-pounding chase across the unforgiving Mojave. Sarah's driving is aggressive yet precise, weaving between rock formations and over dunes. The Zarkoth scouts, however, prove formidable. Their hoverbikes allow them to glide effortlessly over terrain that forces Sarah to slow down. A blast of energy sizzles past the SUV, leaving a glassy crater in the sand. Nathan leans out the window, returning fire with his sidearm. The bullets seem to ricochet off the Zarkoth armor, barely slowing them down. In the back seat, Kira stirs. Her eyes flutter open, taking in the chaos around her. She sits up abruptly, her gaze locking onto Nathan. Zarkoth, she says, her voice stronger now. She points to her ears, then makes a crushing motion with her hands. Sound hurts them. Nathan's mind races. Sarah, they're vulnerable to certain frequencies. Can you rig something up? Sarah's eyes light up with understanding. On it. Keep them off our tail. As Sarah works feverishly on a makeshift sonic device, Jake's SUV pulls alongside. He leans out the window, assault rifle blazing. His expert marksmanship forces the Zarkoth to break formation, buying them precious seconds. The chase leads them into a narrow canyon, sheer rock walls rising on either side. Nathan's knuckles turn white as he grips the dashboard. Sarah's driving becomes a work of art, threading the needle between jutting rocks and tight turns. For a moment, they gain ground on their pursuers. Bursting out of the canyon, they find themselves on a vast salt flat. The smooth, white expanse offers no cover, nowhere to hide. Nathan exchanges a glance with Sarah, seeing his own relentless drive reflected in her eyes. Whatever you've cooked up, now's the time, he says. Sarah nods, flipping a switch on her jury-rigged device. A high-pitched whine fills the air, quickly building to a teeth-rattling crescendo. The effect on the Zarkoth is immediate and dramatic. Their hoverbikes wobble, veering wildly off course. Nathan watches in amazement as their pursuers crash spectacularly across the salt flat, their advanced technology rendered useless by Sarah's ingenuity. As the dust settles, Nathan allows himself a moment of relief. But he knows this is just the beginning. He turns to Kira, who's watching him with a mixture of gratitude and curiosity. We need to get you somewhere safe, he tells her, pointing to the mountains looming in the distance. There's a place, a bunker, people who can help. Kira nods, seeming to understand. She reaches out, her slender fingers brushing against Nathan's arm. The touch sends an electric current through him, a reminder of the vast gulf between their species and the bridge they must build to save both their worlds. As they drive towards the hidden entrance of Bunker Epsilon, Nathan's mind races with the implications of what's transpired. The Zarkoth are here, on Earth, far sooner than anyone had anticipated. The information Kira risked everything to deliver has become even more critical. The SUVs pull up to what appears to be an abandoned mine shaft. Jake inputs a complex code, and a section of the mountainside slides away, revealing a state-of-the-art facility hidden within. As they descend into Bunker Epsilon, alarms begin to blare. Dr. Eliza Reeves, the facility's lead xenobiologist, rushes to meet them, her face a mask of concern. Multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere, she announces, her voice tight with tension. It's happening. The invasion has begun. Nathan looks at Kira, then down at the data crystal still clutched in his hand. In this underground fortress, surrounded by some of Earth's brightest minds and bravest soldiers, He realizes the true weight of their mission. They have the key to Earth's survival. Now, they just need to figure out how to use it. As the gravity of the situation sinks in, Nathan's muscles tense. He exchanges a determined look with Dr. Reeves, then turns to address his team. All right, people, we've trained for this. Let's move. The next hours blur into a frenzy of activity. Nathan coordinates with military brass worldwide, his voice steady as he relays critical information from the data crystal. Across the room, Sarah hunches over a workstation, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she collaborates with a global team of scientists. Dr. Reeves works tirelessly, her eyes red-rimmed from lack of sleep. The data crystal proves a challenge, but her persistence pays off. "Nathan," she calls out suddenly, "I've got something." The team gathers around her station. On the screen, complex schematics unfold. Detailed breakdowns of Zarkov's shields and weapon systems. Jake lets out a low whistle. That's some serious firepower. Nathan's jaw clenches as he absorbs the information. The technological gap between Earth's defenses and the Zarkov is staggering. He turns to Kira, who's been watching the proceedings with keen interest. "We need help," he says simply. Kira nods, understanding evident in her large, almond-shaped eyes. Nathan leads her to a quieter corner of the bunker, aware of the weight of what he's about to ask. "Your people, the Nigeans. I know they prefer to stay out of conflicts, but we're facing extinction here. Is there any way to contact them?" Kira's brow furrows as she processes his words. After a moment, she points to herself, then makes a gesture like she's speaking into a microphone. Nathan's eyes light up. "You can send a message? Through your ship?" Kira nods emphatically. Within the hour, a team is dispatched to salvage the communications array from Kira's crashed ship. Nathan spends the time crafting a message, trying to strike a balance between urgency and diplomacy. As the salvage array hums to life, Nathan stands beside Kira. She places a slender hand on the device, her skin shimmering faintly in the dim light of the bunker. With a series of clicks and warbles, she transmits the message into the depths of space. Days pass in a blur of activity. Nathan barely sleeps, coordinating defense plans and overseeing the implementation of countermeasures based on the crystal's data. In rare moments of downtime, he finds himself drawn to Kira. Despite the language barrier, they develop a system of gestures and simple phrases. One evening, as they share a meal of military rations, Kira points to Nathan's chest, then to her own head. "You. Strong," she says haltingly. "Here." She taps her temple. "Smart." Nathan feels a warmth spread through him that has nothing to do with the bunker's stuffy air. He's about to respond when alarms blare throughout the facility. Multiple bogies entering Earth's atmosphere. Jake's voice rings out. It started. The bunker erupts into controlled chaos. As Nathan rushes to the command center, a communication officer intercepts him. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission. It's not Zarkov." Nathan's heart races as he listens to the message. The Nigerian High Council, moved by Kira's bravery and the threat posed to all peaceful species, has agreed to send aid. As reports flood in of Zarkov's ships positioning themselves around the globe, a new blip appears on the radar. Sleek Nigerian vessels descend from the sky, their advanced technology a beacon of hope. In the command center, Nathan stands tall, his voice clear and authoritative as he addresses the assembled human and Nigerian forces. "Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for the freedom of all sentient beings. We have the intel, we have the technology, and most importantly, we have each other." He locks eyes with Kira, who stands proudly among her people. A silent understanding passes between them. Whatever happens next, they face it together. As the combined forces mobilize, Nathan leads a joint strike team towards the Zarkov command ship. The space battle rages around them, a dazzling and terrifying display of advanced weaponry. Nathan and Kira work in perfect synchronization, her knowledge of Zarkov tech complementing his tactical expertise. They fight their way through the alien vessel, facing waves of Zarkov warriors. Nathan's combat training serves him well, but it's Kira's quick thinking that saves them more than once. She seems to anticipate the enemy's moves, guiding Nathan through the labyrinthine ship. Finally, they reach the command center. The doors is open, revealing a massive chamber dominated by holographic displays. At its center stands a towering figure, Grokthar, the Zarkov commander. Nigean filth. Grokthar snarls, his voice like grinding metal. You dare betray your own galaxy? Kira steps forward, her voice steady. We choose peace. We choose life. What follows is an intense battle of both brawn and wits. Nathan and Kira dart around the chamber, using the Zarkotha's own technology against them. Nathan's quick reflexes keep them one step ahead of Grokthar's devastating blows, while Kira manipulates the ship systems, creating distractions and openings. In a final, desperate move, Grokthar lunges at Kira. Nathan intercepts, grappling with the massive alien. As they struggle, Kira accesses the main control panel. With a series of rapid inputs, she overloads the ship systems. Nathan now, she shouts. He breaks free, diving towards her as the command center erupts in a cascade of explosions. They make it to an escape pod just as the Zarkov ship begins to break apart. As they hurtle back towards Earth, Nathan and Kira watch the space battle through the pod's viewport. With their command structure in chaos, the Zarkov fleet falters. Earth's forces, bolstered by Nigean support, push forward. The pod touches down amidst cheering crowds. As Nathan helps Kira out, they're surrounded by humans and Nigeans alike, all celebrating their shared victory. In the days that follow, Nathan finds himself in a whirlwind of debriefings and ceremonies. The world hails him as a hero, but his thoughts keep drifting to Kira. He finds her on the roof of the bunker one evening, gazing at the stars. Your people are leaving soon, he says softly. Kira turns to him, her eyes reflecting the starlight. Not all, she replies in her improving English. I stay as ambassador. Nathan's heart leaps. He moves closer, drawn by an irresistible force. Their eyes meet, and in that moment, the vast differences between their species seem to melt away. Slowly, carefully, they lean towards each other. Their first kiss is awkward, a gentle exploration of unfamiliar territory. Nathan marvels at the softness of her skin, the faint glow that seems to pulse with her heartbeat. As they part, both slightly breathless, a shared smile passes between them. The moment is shattered by the shrill beep of Nathan's communicator. Dr. Reeves's voice comes through, tight with urgency. Nathan, we need you in the lab immediately. The crystal, it's shown us something. Something big. He looks at Kira, seeing his own mix of excitement and apprehension mirrored in her eyes. Whatever this new threat may be, they'll face it together, as representatives of their people, and as two individuals drawn together by extraordinary circumstances. Hand in hand, they descend back into the bunker, ready to confront whatever challenges the universe has in store for them. As they descend the stairs, Nathan's mind races with possibilities. What could the crystal have revealed that would warrant such urgency? The lab is a hive of activity when they arrive. Dr. Reeves stands at the center, her face illuminated by the glow of multiple holographic displays. She turns to Nathan and Kira as they enter, her expression a mix of excitement and trepidation. We've decrypted more data from the crystal, she says, gesturing to the screens. It's not just tactical information. There are coordinates. Nathan leans in, studying the complex array of numbers and symbols. Coordinates to what? Dr. Reeves takes a deep breath. A hidden Zarkoth outpost. On Mars. The room falls silent as the implications sink in. Nathan exchanges a glance with Kira, seeing his own concern mirrored in her alien eyes. What kind of outpost? Nathan asks, his voice tight. We're not entirely sure, Dr. Reeves admits. But based on the encrypted data surrounding these coordinates, we believe it houses advanced weaponry. Weaponry that could threaten both Earth and Nigia. Nathan's jaw clenches. The victory they just celebrated suddenly feels hollow. We need to neutralize this threat. Dr. Reeves nods. Exactly. And that's where you come in, Nathan. We're putting together a joint human-Nigean expedition to Mars. You'll be leading it. Nathan straightens, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He turns to Kira. Will you join us? We could use your expertise. Kira nods, her expression determined. I will be your liaison, she says, carefully pronouncing the unfamiliar word. The next weeks are a whirlwind of preparation. The mission to Mars requires extensive training and planning. Nathan and Kira find themselves working closely together, spending long hours in simulated environments and strategy sessions. During combat training, Nathan guides Kira through human fighting techniques. Her live form moves with unexpected grace as she learns to throw punches and execute takedowns. In turn, Kira teaches Nathan about Nigean technology and physiology, her slender fingers guiding his over alien control panels. Their physical closeness during these sessions doesn't go unnoticed. Nathan finds himself increasingly aware of Kira's presence, the faint glow of her skin, the alien yet alluring curve of her features. He catches her watching him too, her large eyes lingering on his face when she thinks he's not looking. As the launch date approaches, a new complication arises. Nathan is called to an emergency meeting with Dr. Reeves and the mission's medical team. We've discovered a problem, Dr. Reeves says, her face grave. Our simulations show that prolonged exposure to the Martian environment could be fatal to Nigeans. Their unique biology simply isn't compatible with the conditions on Mars. Nathan feels a cold knot form in his stomach. What does this mean for the mission? For Kira? Dr. Reeves hesitates. It means we may have to reconsider the Nigean involvement in the ground operation, including Kira's. The thought of leaving Kira behind sends a jolt of panic through Nathan. He's grown to rely on her, not just for her skills and knowledge, but for her steady presence at his side. Before he can voice his concerns, Kira herself enters the room. Her expression makes it clear she's already aware of the situation. I have a solution, she says, her voice firm despite her still developing English. Experimental procedure. Alter my physiology. Make me compatible with Mars. Dr. Reeves looks startled. Kira, the risks dash. I understand risks, Kira interrupts. Mission is important. I will not leave Nathan's side. Nathan feels a surge of emotions at her words. Admiration, concern, and something deeper he's not quite ready to name. The procedure is scheduled for the next day. Nathan stays by Kira's side throughout, watching anxiously as Dr. Reeves injects her with a specially designed serum. Kira's skin shimmers and pulses as the compound takes effect, altering her at a cellular level. Hours pass. Nathan holds Kira's hand, marveling at its alliness and the surprising comfort he finds in its touch. Finally, her eyes flutter open. How do you feel? Nathan asks, leaning in close. Kira blinks, then focuses on his face. A smile spreads across her features. Strong, she says, and more. It soon becomes clear what she means by more. As they resume their mission prep, Kira's already keen empathic abilities seem heightened. She reacts to Nathan's moods before he even speaks, anticipating his thoughts and movements with uncanny accuracy. Finally, launch day arrives. The team boards their ship, a sleek vessel that represents the pinnacle of human-Nigean collaboration. As they break through Earth's atmosphere, Nathan and Kira stand side by side at a viewport, watching their two worlds grow small beneath them. "Beautiful," Kira murmurs, her hand brushing against Nathan's. He nods, unable to find words for the mix of awe and trepidation he feels. As Earth and Nigia shrink to mere points of light among the stars, Nathan knows that whatever challenges await them on Mars, he and Kira will face them together. Together, as they enter Mars' orbit, a sense of anticipation builds among the crew. The red planet looms before them, its rusty surface holding secrets that could change the course of interstellar relations. The landing is smooth, a testament to the combined human and Nigean engineering. As the team disembarks, Nathan can't help but marvel at the alien landscape stretching out before them. The Martian soil crunches beneath their boots as they make their way towards the coordinates revealed by the crystal. "There," Kira points, her voice slightly distorted through her protective suit. "The entrance is concealed, but I can sense the energy signature." Nathan nods, signaling the team to follow. They approach a seemingly innocuous rock formation, but as they draw closer, a hidden panel slides open, revealing a metallic door. "Zarkov technology," Nathan mutters, examining the control panel. "Kira, can you dash?" Before he can finish, Kira's hand is already moving across the alien interface, her enhanced abilities allowing her to intuitively understand its workings. The door hisses open, revealing a dark corridor leading deep into the Martian crust. As they descend into the facility, the air grows thick with tension. Nathan's hand hovers near his weapon, every sense on high alert. Suddenly, the corridor floods with light, and they find themselves in a vast chamber filled with rows upon rows of stasis pods. "My God," Nathan breathes, taking in the sight of countless Zarkov suspended in cryogenic sleep. Before they can process the magnitude of their discovery, a familiar voice crackles over their comms. Nathan and Kira report immediately to the command center. Dr. Reeves' orders, her tone urgent. They rush to the center, where they're met with an unexpected sight. A group of stern-faced Nigeans stands facing Dr. Reeves and the human contingent. At their head is a towering figure, his posture rigid and authoritative. "Ambassador Zorax," Kira whispers, her voice a mix of respect and apprehension. The ambassador's gaze locks onto Kira, his eyes narrowing. "Explain yourself, Kira," he demands in the Nigean language. "Why are you here, consorting with humans?" Nathan steps forward, ready to defend Kira, but she places a gentle hand on his arm, silently asking him to let her handle this. "Honorable Ambassador," Kira begins, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "I am here as a liaison, to foster cooperation between our species in the face of a common threat." Zorax's expression remains stern. "And what are the unauthorized alterations to your physiology? Do you deny the bond you seem to share with this human?" Before Kira can respond, alarms blare throughout the facility. Dr. Reeves rushes to a nearby console, her face paling as she reads the data. "The stasis pods," she says, her voice tight with urgency. "They're malfunctioning. If we don't stabilize them soon, we could lose all the Zarkov in cryosleep." Nathan's mind races, quickly assessing the situation. "We need to act fast," he says, turning to Kira. "Can you use your enhanced abilities to help us interface with the Zarkov systems?" Kira nods, already moving towards the main control panel. Ambassador Zorax steps forward, his expression conflicted. "I cannot allow this," he begins, but Nathan cuts him off. "With all due respect, Ambassador, we don't have time for politics. Those are lives at stake in there, and we're the only ones who can save them." For a moment, it seems Zorax might object, but the gravity of the situation seems to sink in. He gives a curt nod. "Very well. But I will oversee this operation personally." As they work to stabilize the pods, Nathan and Kira move in perfect synchronization. Her hands dance across the alien interface, guided by her enhanced empathic abilities, while Nathan's quick thinking helps them navigate the complex Zarkov systems. Ambassador Zorax watches their teamwork with a mixture of suspicion and grudging admiration. As the last pod stabilizes, he approaches them, his stern demeanor softening slightly. "Your coordination is impressive," he admits. Perhaps there is something to this interspecies cooperation after all. But before they can bask in this small victory, a new crisis emerges. The facility's security systems, triggered by their earlier breach, initiate a self-destruct sequence. "We need to get to the main control room," Nathan shouts over the blaring alarms. "It's our only chance to stop this." As they race through the corridors, the ground beneath them trembles. Suddenly, a section of the ceiling collapses, raining debris down on them. Nathan pushes Kira out of the way, but finds himself pinned under a heavy beam. Without hesitation, Kira turns back. Using her Naijian strength, enhanced by the experimental procedure, she lifts the beam, freeing Nathan. Even Ambassador Zorax looks impressed by this display of loyalty and strength. They reach the control room with minutes to spare. Nathan's fingers fly over the controls, guided by Kira's intuitive understanding of the alien technology. As the countdown reaches its final seconds, they manage to override the self-destruct sequence. The room falls silent as the alarms cease, the sudden quiet almost deafening. Nathan and Kira exchange a look of relief, their hands still intertwined over the control panel. Ambassador Zorax clears his throat, breaking the moment. "It seems I may have misjudged the effectiveness of your partnership," he says, his tone begrudgingly respectful. As the immediate danger passes, the team begins to assess the facility and its sleeping inhabitants. But their respite is short-lived. A urgent communication from Earth interrupts their work. Dr. Reeves' face appears on the main screen, her expression grave. "Nathan, Kira, we have a problem," she says. "The serum we use to alter Kira's physiology. It's breaking down faster than we anticipated. If we don't find a solution soon, Kira's life could be in danger." Nathan feels his heart constrict, the weight of this new threat settling heavily on his shoulders. He looks at Kira, seeing the concern in her alien eyes, and knows that their greatest challenge still lies ahead. Nathan's mind raced, searching for a solution to save Kira's life. "We need to get you back to Earth immediately," Nathan said, his voice tight with concern. He turned to Ambassador Zorax, who stood nearby with a furrowed brow. "We require your fastest ship dash." A sudden tremor shook the facility, cutting off Nathan's words. Alarms blared as the team rushed to the main control room. Dr. Reeves' face appeared on the central screen, her expression grave. "Nathan, we have another situation," she said. "The stasis pods are activating. The Zarkov are waking up." As if on cue, the nearest pod hissed open. A tall, silver-skinned figure emerged, blinking in confusion. More pods began to open, filling the room with disoriented Zarkov refugees. Ambassador Zorax stepped forward, his posture rigid. "This complicates matters significantly. We cannot leave Mars with the Zarkov awakening." Nathan felt torn between his duty to the mission and his desperate need to get Kira to safety. He looked at her, noticing the faint tremor in her hands and the pallor of her skin. Before he could speak, Dr. Reeves' voice cut through the chaos. "Nathan, I've been analyzing Kira's genetic data. I believe a combination of human and Zarkov genetic material might stabilize her condition." The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. Ambassador Zorax's face darkened. "Absolutely not. We cannot allow Dash." "With all due respect, Ambassador," Nathan interrupted, his voice firm, "Kira risked everything to make this mission a success. We owe it to her to try every possible solution." As the argument intensified, a soft voice spoke up. "I can help." All eyes turned to a female Zarkoth who had approached unnoticed. "I am Vexera, a geneticist. I possess knowledge that may save your friend." Nathan felt a surge of hope, but Ambassador Zorax remained skeptical. "How can we trust you?" he demanded. Vexera's silver eyes met Nathan's. "Because we all stand to benefit from cooperation. The advancements we could make together far outweigh our differences." A tense silence filled the room as Ambassador Zorax considered her words. Finally, he gave a curt nod. "Proceed, but under strict supervision." As Vexera began her work, more Zarkoth awakened. The facility buzzed with activity as the team struggled to manage the influx of refugees while monitoring Kira's treatment. Nathan never left Kira's side, watching anxiously as Vexera combined human and Zarkoth genetic material. The procedure was complex and untested, each step fraught with potential dangers. As hours passed, Nathan noticed subtle changes in Kira. Her skin regained its healthy glow, and her breathing became more stable. But there was something else, something he couldn't quite define. Suddenly, Kira's eyes flew open, wide with alarm. "Danger," she whispered, her voice urgent. "Nathan, I sense hostile intent. Someone's coming." Before Nathan could react, alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Reeves' voice crackled over the intercom. "Unidentified ships approaching. They're not responding to hails." Ambassador Zorax's face paled. "Nigean hardliners," he said grimly. "They oppose any cooperation between species. They must have followed us here." Nathan's military training kicked in. He quickly assessed their resources and formulated a plan. "We need to secure the facility. Ambassador, can your people assist in defense?" The ambassador nodded reluctantly. "We will do what we must." As they prepared for the impending attack, Nathan marveled at Kira's heightened abilities. She seemed to anticipate every move, guiding him with uncanny precision. Nathan left corridor. Kira's voice echoed in his mind. He turned, raising his weapon just as a group of Nigean soldiers rounded the corner. The ensuing battle was chaotic but brief. Nathan's tactical expertise, combined with Kira's enhanced empathic abilities and the unexpected alliance with the Zarkoth, proved too much for the hardliners. As the last of the attackers were subdued, Nathan turned to find Ambassador Zorax staring at him with a mix of surprise and grudging respect. "Perhaps," the ambassador said slowly, "there is more to this interspecies cooperation than I initially believed." But their victory was short-lived. Kira suddenly collapsed, her body racked with tremors. Vexera rushed to her side, her silver fingers dancing over a complex array of instruments. "The treatment is entering its final phase," Vexera announced, her voice tense. "The next few hours will be critical." Nathan took Kira's hand, feeling the faint pulse of her alien skin against his. As he watched her fight for survival, he realized that the fate of not just Kira, but potentially 3 species, hung in the balance. In the tense silence of the medical bay, surrounded by humans, Nigeans, and newly awakened Zarkoth, Nathan felt the weight of the moment. Whatever the outcome, he knew that the events on Mars had set in motion changes that would reshape the future of all their worlds. As Vexera worked tirelessly to stabilize Kira's rapidly changing physiology, Nathan's thoughts turned to the challenges that lay ahead. The complex web of interspecies politics, the potential for groundbreaking scientific discoveries, and the deepening connection he felt with Kira all swirled in his mind. The red planet outside the facility's windows seemed to pulse with potential, a silent witness to this pivotal moment in galactic history. As Nathan watched Kira's chest rise and fall, he knew that whatever came next would be unlike anything any of them had ever experienced before. Nathan's intense focus on Kira was suddenly interrupted by a violent shudder that rocked the entire facility. The lights flickered ominously, and the steady hum of machinery faltered. "What's happening?" Nathan demanded, his eyes darting to the nearest display panel. Dr. Reeves' voice crackled over the intercom, tinged with urgency. "We're experiencing severe power fluctuations. The energy grid is becoming unstable." Nathan's heart raced as he glanced at Kira's prone form, her skin now glistening with an otherworldly sheen. Vexera's silver fingers danced over the controls, her face a mask of concentration. "The treatment is at a critical stage," the Zarkov scientist warned. "Any disruption now could be catastrophic for Kira." Without hesitation, Nathan sprang into action. "I'll lead a team to stabilize the power systems," he announced, already moving towards the door. "Vexera, keep Kira stable. Ambassador Zorax, I need your people to assist with crowd control for the awakening Zarkov." As Nathan raced through the corridors, he quickly assembled a mixed team of humans and Nigeans. The facility's normally pristine hallways were now filled with disoriented Zarkov, their silver skin reflecting the pulsing emergency lights. "This way," Nathan called, guiding his team towards the main power distribution center. The air grew thick with an acrid smell of ozone as they approached. Inside the center, chaos reigned. Sparks flew from overloaded circuits, and the main power core pulsed erratically. Nathan's mind raced, assessing the situation with military precision. "You too, reroute power from the non-essential systems," he ordered, pointing to a pair of human technicians. "You," he addressed a Nigean engineer, "help me stabilize the core." As they worked frantically to contain the energy surges, Nathan's thoughts kept returning to Kira. He could almost feel her presence, as if her expanding empathic abilities were reaching out to him across the facility. Suddenly, a massive power spike surged through the system. Nathan instinctively shielded his eyes as a blinding flash filled the room. When he looked up, he saw the core had stabilized, its energy now pulsing in a steady, rhythmic pattern. "It's synchronized," the Nigean engineer said in awe. "The core is matching some external frequency." Nathan's eyes widened with realization. "Kira," he whispered. Racing back to the medical bay, Nathan was unprepared for the sight that greeted him. Kira's body hovered inches above the treatment bed, surrounded by a shimmering aura of energy. Her skin rippled with iridescent patterns, and her eyes, now open, glowed with an inner light. Vexera stood nearby, her silver face a mix of wonder and concern. "The power fluctuations accelerated the process," she explained. "Her transformation is progressing faster than anticipated." Ambassador Zorax pushed his way into the room, his face contorted with alarm. "This has gone too far," he declared. "We must terminate the procedure immediately. The risk is too great." Nathan stepped between the ambassador and Kira's floating form. "We can't stop now," he argued, his voice firm. "Ending the treatment could kill her. We have to see this through." As the two faced off, tension thick in the air, Nathan felt a gentle touch in his mind. Kira's voice, somehow both familiar and alien, echoed in his thoughts. "Nathan," she called, her mental voice tinged with a new, vast awareness. "Don't be afraid. I'm still me, but also more." Suddenly, the room was filled with a wave of emotion and sensation. Nathan gasped as he felt himself connected to every being in the facility, human, Nigean, and Zarkov alike. He saw through their eyes, felt their fears, hopes, and wonder. The shared consciousness lasted only moments, but its impact was profound. As the connection faded, Nathan saw the change in Ambassador Zorax's eyes, the hard edge of suspicion replaced by a newfound understanding. "Very well," the ambassador conceded, his voice soft. "We will continue." But their challenges were nowhere near the end. The psychic event had roused more of the dormant Zarkov. The facility quickly filled with confused refugees, their silver forms crowding the corridors and rooms. Nathan's leadership skills were put to the test as he organized the mixed crew to manage the crisis. He dispatched teams to provide care for the newly awakened, establish communication protocols, and maintain security. As he coordinated the efforts, Dr. Reeves' voice came through on his personal communicator. "Nathan, we're detecting unusual patterns in Kira's neural activity," she reported, her tone urgent. "Her mind is evolving at an unprecedented rate. We're not sure what this means for her consciousness." The implications hit Nathan like a physical blow. He looked at Kira's floating form, her face serene despite the chaos around her. Would she still be the Kira he knew when this was over? The woman he had grown to care for so deeply? Before he could dwell on these thoughts, the facility's systems began to react strangely. Lights pulsed in sync with Kira's brainwaves, and nearby screens flickered with images, fleeting glimpses of memories and thoughts. As the treatment neared its final stages, the entire facility seemed to resonate with Kira's energy. The awakened Zarkoth gathered around, drawn by her empathic field. In the midst of this otherworldly scene, one of the Zarkoth elders approached Nathan. "We must speak," the elder said, his silver eyes grave. "There is much you need to know about why we fled our home." Nathan nodded, sensing the weight of the elder's words. But before they could continue, Kira's body was engulfed in a brilliant flash of light. As the glare faded, Nathan held his breath, watching intently as Kira slowly descended back onto the treatment bed. Her eyes fluttered open, now swirling with an array of colors that seemed to reflect the vastness of space itself. Kira turned her gaze to Nathan, a smile playing on her lips. "Nathan," she said, her voice carrying new depths of understanding. "I'm ready." As Nathan moved to her side, he knew that whatever came next would reshape not just their lives, but the future of 3 species and perhaps the entire galaxy. Galaxy. The words had barely left her lips when the room erupted in a dazzling display of light. The shimmering aura surrounding Kira intensified, bathing everyone in a brilliant, otherworldly glow. Nathan, Vexera, and the others instinctively shielded their eyes as the radiance grew blindingly bright. When the light finally subsided, Nathan lowered his arm and gasped. Kira hovered a few feet above the medical bed, her appearance dramatically altered. Her skin now radiated with an ethereal iridescence, shifting colors like the surface of a soap bubble. Her eyes had become larger and more luminous, reflecting the vastness of space itself. Her body appeared more lithe and graceful, with subtle alterations that hinted at her new hybrid nature. As Kira slowly descended back onto the bed, Nathan rushed to her side, his heart pounding with a mixture of awe and concern. "Kira," he whispered, reaching out to touch her hand. Before his fingers could make contact, Kira's eyes snapped open. Nathan felt a sudden rush of thoughts and emotions that weren't his own flood his mind. He staggered back, overwhelmed by the sensation. I can hear all of you," Kira's voice echoed in Nathan's head, and he realized she was communicating telepathically. Her mental voice reverberated not just in English, but in the native languages of the Nigeans and Zarkoth as well. Ambassador Zorax's eyes widened in shock. "Impossible," he muttered, his thoughts betraying his mix of fear and fascination. Vexera stepped forward, her silver fingers dancing over a handheld scanner. "Her neural patterns have reconfigured themselves on a fundamental level," she announced, her voice tinged with excitement. "The integration of human and Zarkoth DNA has created something entirely new." As the implications of Kira's transformation sank in, Nathan noticed her face contort in pain. "Too much," she gasped, her mental voice strained. I can't block it out." Nathan instinctively reached out, grasping Kira's hand firmly. "Focus on me," he said, pushing aside his own tumultuous emotions to project a sense of calm. "Just my thoughts, Kira. Filter out the rest." Kira's grip tightened on Nathan's hand, her newly iridescent skin cool against his. Gradually, her breathing steadied and the pained expression on her face eased. "Thank you," she said, her mental voice now a gentle whisper in Nathan's mind. Before they could fully process what had happened, alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Reeves' voice crackled over the intercom. "We're experiencing system-wide malfunctions. Doors are opening and closing randomly. Life support is fluctuating, and our communication arrays are broadcasting erratic signals into space." Nathan sprang into action, his military training kicking in. "I need a team to help stabilize the facility systems," he called out, already moving towards the door. He paused, looking back at Kira with concern. "Go," she said, both aloud and in his mind. "I'll be okay. They need you." As Nathan raced through the corridors, organizing teams to address the technical issues, he couldn't shake the feeling that Kira's new abilities might be causing the malfunctions. He pushed the thought aside, focusing on the immediate crisis. In the medical bay, Vexera worked tirelessly to analyze Kira's new genetic makeup. "Fascinating," she murmured, her silver eyes fixed on the scrolling data. "Your DNA is still changing, adapting. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." Ambassador Zorax paced nervously, his earlier hostility replaced by a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "What does this mean for us?" he asked, his gaze fixed on Kira. "For all of us?" Before Kira could respond, a group of awakened Zarkoth entered the room, led by a tall, imposing figure with intricate patterns swirling across his silver skin. He introduced himself as Krelvor, his mental voice resonating clearly in everyone's minds. "We have a proposal," Krelvor announced, his eyes fixed on Kira. "Your abilities could be the key to our survival. We suggest establishing a psychic link between all three species, fostering unprecedented cooperation and understanding." The room erupted in a cacophony of voices, both spoken and mental. Ambassador Zorax argued vehemently against the idea, citing the risks of such an untested connection. Vexera, on the other hand, saw the potential for groundbreaking scientific advancements. Kira, overwhelmed by the flood of thoughts and emotions, raised her hands. "Please," she pleaded, her mental voice cutting through the chaos. "I need time to understand these abilities before we consider anything so drastic." Nathan returned to the medical bay, his face grim. "We've stabilized the facility systems for now, but we have a bigger problem," he announced. Long-range sensors have detected multiple unidentified objects entering the solar system. They're on a direct course for Mars. The news sent a ripple of fear through the assembled group. Nathan quickly took charge, ordering the facility to be put on high alert and beginning to formulate a defense strategy. As tensions mounted and preparations began, Kira suddenly gasped, her eyes glowing with an intense inner light. Without warning, a vivid vision exploded into the minds of everyone in the facility. They saw a vast armada of biomechanical ships, dripping with weapons. At the helm stood towering, insectoid creatures, their compound eyes glittering with malevolence. The vision faded as quickly as it had appeared, leaving behind a stunned silence. Kira slumped back onto the bed, exhausted by the effort. "The threat that drove us from our home," Krelvor said quietly, his mental voice heavy with dread. "They followed us here." Nathan looked around the room, seeing the fear and dedication mirrored on the faces of humans, Nigeans, and Zarkoth alike. He realized that the boundaries between their species had blurred, united by the shared experience and the looming threat. "We need to move fast," Nathan said, his voice cutting through the tension. "Kira, Krelvor, Ambassador Zorax, Vexera, we need to gather in the command center. We have to prepare for whatever's coming." As they made their way through the facility, Nathan felt Kira's presence in his mind, a comforting warmth amidst the chaos. He knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. In the command center, screens flickered to life, displaying the approaching threat. As the leaders of the three species gathered around the central holographic display, Nathan felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The fate of not just Mars, but potentially the entire solar system, now rested on their ability to work together and harness Kira's extraordinary new powers. Kira stepped forward, her iridescent skin shimmering under the harsh lights of the command center. "I don't fully understand these abilities yet," she said, her voice steady despite the uncertainty in her eyes. "But I'm ready to do whatever it takes to protect our home." Nathan nodded, his gaze meeting Kira's. In that moment, despite the alien changes to her appearance, he saw the same persistence and courage that had first drawn him to her. As the facility buzzed with frantic activity around them, Nathan knew that their greatest challenge was just beginning. The facility's alarms blared to life, their urgent wails echoing through the corridors. Nathan's military instincts kicked in as he witnessed the defense systems activating automatically. "Everyone to your stations," he shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. This is not a drill. Nathan quickly organized the combined human, Nigean, and Zarkov forces, assigning roles based on each species' unique abilities. The command center buzzed with activity as technicians from all three races worked side by side, their differences momentarily forgotten in the face of the impending threat. Kira, still adjusting to her new form, closed her eyes and concentrated. Her iridescent skin shimmered as she extended her enhanced empathic powers towards the approaching vessels. The room fell silent, all eyes on her as they waited for any information she could provide. Suddenly, Kira's eyes snapped open, wide with recognition and fear. Her mental voice resonated in the minds of everyone present. "It's them, the Voriks, the ones who drove the Zarkov from their home." A collective gasp rippled through the room. The Zarkov refugees visibly tensed, their silver skin reflecting the flashing red emergency lights. Fear and anger radiated from them in palpable waves. Nathan absorbed this new information quickly, his mind already formulating a strategy. He turned to the holographic display, fingers dancing across the controls as he implemented a multi-layered defense plan. "We'll integrate our weapon systems with Nigean and Zarkov technology," he announced, his voice steady and authoritative. "Create a defense grid they won't expect." As Nathan worked, Ambassador Zorax approached him, his earlier hostility replaced by grudging respect. "Commander," he said, his voice low, "we have a Nigean battlecruiser hidden in Mars orbit. It's yours to command." Nathan nodded gratefully, immediately incorporating the battlecruiser into his plans. The combined forces worked feverishly to prepare their defenses as the Vorik's fleet entered Mars' atmosphere. A harsh, guttural voice crackled through the facility's communication systems. "Surrender the Zarkov refugees immediately or face annihilation." Nathan stepped forward, his eyebrows furrowed in perseverance. "This facility is under joint human Nigean Zarkov protection. We will not comply with your demands." The response was immediate. The Vorik ships opened fire, their energy weapons lighting up the Martian sky. "All units engage." Nathan commanded. The facility's defenses roared to life, unleashing a barrage of integrated weaponry. The hidden Nigean battlecruiser decloaked, its advanced systems matching the Vorix's firepower. Kira, standing beside Nathan, provided crucial tactical information. "Their shields have a weakness," she communicated telepathically. "Concentrating fire on their port side will penetrate their defenses." Nathan relayed the information, and the defenders adjusted their strategy accordingly. The battle raged on, with the Mars facility holding its ground against the technologically superior Vorix forces. Amidst the chaos, Nathan noticed a group of Vorix ships breaking formation. "They're attempting to breach our outer defenses," he shouted, leading a strike team composed of humans, Nigeans, and Zarkov. Nathan raced through the facility's corridors. The sounds of battle grew louder as they approached the breach point. Rounding a corner, they came face to face with the Vorix infiltrators. Nathan's first glimpse of the enemy sent a chill down his spine. The Vorix towered over them, their insectoid features twisted in expressions of hate and aggression. "Take them down!" Nathan ordered, opening fire with his plasma rifle. The corridor erupted into a frenzy of close-quarters combat. Nathan's diverse team fought with remarkable cohesion, covering each other's weaknesses and utilizing their unique strengths. As the fighting intensified, Nathan felt a sudden surge of energy. Kira's mental voice echoed in his mind, strained but determined. "I'm going to try something. Be ready." A wave of empathic energy swept through the corridor. The Vorax infiltrators stumbled, their movements becoming uncoordinated. Nathan's team seized the advantage, quickly neutralizing the stunned enemies. With the immediate threat contained, Nathan sprinted back to the command center. He found Kira slumped in a chair, her skin pulsing with erratic bursts of light. "Kira!" he cried, rushing to her side. Dr. Reeves' voice crackled over the comm system. Her new physiology is struggling to contain her expanding powers. We need to stabilize her condition immediately. Before Nathan could respond, Krelvor, the charismatic Zarkov leader, approached. "We may have a solution," he said urgently. "But it's risky. We propose using Kira's abilities to establish a temporary psychic link between all defenders. It would allow for perfect coordination." Nathan looked at Kira, torn between the potential tactical advantage and the risk to her health. "Kira, it's your call," he said softly. Kira's eyes fluttered open, meeting Nathan's gaze. "Do it," she whispered. "We have to try." With Kira's consent, they initiated the psychic link. The effect was immediate and staggering. Nathan felt his consciousness expand, connecting with every defender in the facility and on the battlecruiser. They moved as one, their actions perfectly synchronized. The tide of battle turned swiftly. The Vorax, caught off guard by the defenders' sudden increase in coordination, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Their ships began to fall, one by one, under the relentless assault. As the last Vorax vessel retreated from Mars' orbit, a cheer erupted throughout the facility. But Nathan's relief was short-lived. He turned to find Kira unconscious, her body convulsing with energy. "We need medical assistance here now," he shouted, cradling Kira's limp form. As the adrenaline of battle faded, the full extent of the damage became apparent. The Mars facility had taken heavy hits, and many defenders lay wounded. But it was Kira's condition that weighed most heavily on Nathan's mind. Vexera appeared at his side, her silver fingers dancing over a medical scanner. "Her system is in shock," she reported grimly. "We need to find a way to stabilize her, and fast." Nathan looked around at the diverse group of humans, Nigeans, and Zarkov gathered around them. Despite their victory, he knew their greatest challenges still lay ahead. As he held Kira's hand, feeling the erratic pulses of energy coursing through her, Nathan steeled himself for the battles to come, both for Kira's life and for the future of their newfound alliance. Alliance. Nathan gently squeezed Kira's hand, his eyes never leaving her face as the medical team swarmed around them. The erratic pulses of energy coursing through her body seemed to intensify, causing her to convulse violently. "We need to stabilize her now," Vexera shouted, her silver fingers flying over a complex array of medical equipment. "Her system is going into shock." Dr. Reeves' voice crackled over the comm system, her tone urgent but controlled. "Nathan, we've developed a temporary solution. We need to put Kira in stasis immediately to slow down her physiological processes." Nathan nodded, his eyebrows furrowed tightly. "Do it," he ordered, reluctantly stepping back to allow the medical team to work. As they prepared to move Kira to the stasis pod, alarms blared throughout the facility. Jake Martinez, Nathan's second-in-command, burst into the medical bay, his face etched with concern. "Commander, we have detected a massive energy signature entering the solar system," Jake reported breathlessly. "It's a Vorax mothership, Sir, much larger than anything we've faced before. Nathan's mind raced, torn between the immediate crisis of Kira's condition and the looming threat to Mars. He made a split-second decision. Jake, take charge of our defense preparations. I need to oversee Kira's treatment, Nathan instructed, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. Jake hesitated for a moment, surprise flickering across his face before he nodded sharply. Understood, sir. I'll coordinate with the Nigean and Zarkoth teams to fortify our defenses. As Jake hurried out, Nathan turned his attention back to Kira. The medical team had successfully transferred her to the stasis pod, a sleek cylindrical chamber pulsing with a soft blue light. Vexera monitored the readouts closely, her expression a mixture of concentration and concern. The stasis field is holding, she reported. It's bought us some time, but we need a more permanent solution. Nathan nodded, his mind already formulating plans. Contact Dr. Reeves on Earth. We need to pool all our resources, human, Nigean, and Zarkoth, to find a way to stabilize Kira's condition. As the medical team worked tirelessly, Nathan found himself pulled into an emergency meeting called by Ambassador Zorax. The command center buzzed with tension as leaders from all three species gathered around the central holographic display. Krelvor, the Zarkoth leader, stepped forward, his silver skin reflecting the harsh lighting. "We have an opportunity here," he began, his mental voice resonating with conviction. "We can use our combined technologies, enhanced by Kira's empathic abilities, to broadcast a message of unity to the approaching Vork's mothership." Murmurs of surprise and skepticism rippled through the assembled group. Ambassador Zorax frowned, his tentacles twitching with agitation. "And what would this achieve?" he demanded. "It could deter further aggression," Krelvor explained. "Show them that we are no longer divided, but a unified force to be reckoned with." Nathan listened intently, weighing the potential risks and benefits. The plan was bold, perhaps even reckless, but it offered a chance to avoid another devastating battle. "It's worth considering," Nathan said, drawing all eyes to him. "But we can't risk Kira's health. We need to stabilize her condition first." As if on cue, Dr. Reeves' holographic image materialized in the center of the room. "We may have a solution," she announced, her expression grave. "We've developed a treatment plan combining modified Mars survival serum with controlled exposure to Zarkoth genetic material. It's risky, but it could stabilize Kira's enhanced abilities." Nathan's heart raced at the news. It was a chance, albeit a dangerous one. "What are the risks?" he asked, his voice tight with concern. Dr. Reeves sighed. "Unpredictable mutations, possible loss of her new abilities, or—" She hesitated. "Complete cellular breakdown." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Nathan closed his eyes, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. When he opened them again, his gaze was resolute. "Prepare for the procedure," he ordered. "I'll be there every step of the way." As the meeting dispersed, Nathan hurried back to the medical bay. The facility hummed with frantic activity around him, mixed teams of humans, Nigeans, and Zarkoth working in unison to repair damage and strengthen defenses. He arrived just as they were preparing to remove Kira from stasis. As the pod hissed open, Kira's eyes fluttered, and for a brief moment, she regained consciousness. "Nathan," she whispered, her voice weak but clear. Their eyes met, and suddenly, Nathan's mind was flooded with a vivid vision. He saw a future where humans, Nigeans, and Zarkoth lived together in harmony, their combined strengths creating a society more advanced and peaceful than any could have achieved alone. The vision faded as quickly as it had come, leaving Nathan breathless. He squeezed Kira's hand, a renewed sense of purpose filling him. "We're going to get through this," he promised her softly. As the medical team prepared for the procedure, an urgent message came through from the Nigean battlecruiser in orbit. Nathan listened intently, his eyebrows furrowing as he absorbed the information. "Sir, the Nigerian captain reported. "We've picked up a transmission from a distant star system. It appears to be from an unknown alien species offering assistance against the Vorax." Nathan's mind reeled at this new development. Another alien race entering the fray could change everything, for better or worse. But there was no time to fully consider the implications now. "Acknowledge the transmission," Nathan instructed. "Tell them we'll respond as soon as we're able. For now, our priority is here." With that, he turned back to Kira. The medical team stood ready, the modified serum glowing an eerie green in its container. Nathan took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. "Begin the procedure," he ordered, his voice steady despite the fear gripping his heart. As the first drops of serum entered Kira's system, her body arched, energy crackling across her skin. Nathan watched, his fists clenched at his sides, as the woman he loved fought for survival. Beyond the walls of the medical bay, the combined forces of Earth, Nigia, and Zarkov prepared to face the approaching Vorax mothership. The fate of Kira, Mars, and perhaps the entire solar system hung in the balance. As alarms blared and energy readings spiked, Nathan knew that the real challenges were only just beginning. As alarms blared and energy readings spiked, Nathan steeled himself for the challenges ahead. The modified stasis pod hummed to life, its sleek surface now adorned with intricate Zarkov circuitry. Dr. Reeves and Vexera moved with practiced precision, carefully administering the experimental serum into Kira's intravenous line. "Initiating Phase 1, Dr. Reeves announced, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of Kira's vital signs. "Cellular restructuring commencing." Nathan watched intently, his hands gripping the edge of a nearby console. Kira's skin began to pulse with waves of iridescent light, each wave more intense than the last. The medical team bustled around her, adjusting equipment and monitoring her rapidly changing neural patterns. "Neural activity is off the charts," Vexera reported, her silver fingers dancing across a series of controls. Her brain is rewiring itself at an unprecedented rate. As the treatment progressed, Nathan noticed subtle changes in Kira's appearance. Her features seemed to sharpen, taking on an otherworldly quality that blended characteristics of all three species. It was as if her body was forging a new template for what a hybrid being could be. Suddenly, the facility shook violently, nearly knocking Nathan off his feet. Jake's voice crackled over the comm system, urgent and strained. "Commander, the Vorax mothership has launched an attack. Our shield is holding, but barely." Nathan's mind raced, torn between his duty to the facility and his vigil over Kira. Before he could respond, Ambassador Zorax and Krelvor burst into the medical bay, their faces etched with concern. "Nathan, we need to consider our options," Zorax said, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "The Vorax assault is straining our power systems to the breaking point." Krelvor stepped forward, his silver skin reflecting the pulsing light from Kira's pod. "We believe there may be a way to channel Kira's evolving abilities through the facility's systems. It could significantly boost our defenses." Nathan's eyebrows furrowed as he weighed the risks. The idea of using Kira as a power source, even temporarily, went against every protective instinct he had. But as another tremor shook the facility, he realized they were running out of options. "Do it," he ordered, his voice tight. "But at the first sign of danger to Kira, we pull the plug. Understood?" As the team worked to establish the connection, Kira's body suddenly arched within the pod, her eyes flying open. Nathan rushed to her side, pressing his hand against the transparent surface. "Nathan." Kira's voice echoed in his mind, clear and strong despite her physical state. In that instant, their consciousnesses merged, and Nathan was flooded with a torrent of alien emotions and memories. He saw through Kira's eyes as she experienced the wonder and terror of her first transformation. He felt the pull of her new abilities, the struggle to contain the raw power coursing through her veins. And beneath it all, he sensed her unwavering love for him, a beacon of stability in the chaos of her evolving mind. The connection between Kira and the facility's systems flared to life. The effect was immediate and staggering. The hybrid shield expanded, its shimmering surface stretching to cover a vast swath of the Martian landscape. Voric's energy weapons splashed harmlessly against the barrier, their attacks nullified by the combined power of three species technology and Kira's unique abilities. But the strain on Kira was evident. Her body convulsed within the pod, energy crackling across her skin in violent arcs. Nathan felt her pain as if it were his own, their mental link transmitting every sensation. "We need to disengage," Nathan shouted, reaching for the controls. "It's too much for her." Before he could act, a new alarm blared through the facility. Jake's voice cut through the chaos once more. "Sir, you're not going to believe this. We've got new contacts entering the system. It's the aliens who offered us help. They're here." Through the medical bay's viewport, Nathan watched in awe as a fleet of sleek, organic-looking ships took up defensive positions around Mars. Their design was unlike anything he had ever seen, all graceful curves and pulsing bioluminescence. A transmission crackled through the facility's speakers, the voice melodic and calming despite the urgency of the situation. "People of Earth, Mars, Nigia, and Zarkoth, we are the Luminari. We come in peace and solidarity against the Vorix threat. Stand firm. You are not alone." The Luminari ships engaged the Vorix mothership with weapons that seemed to bend the very fabric of space. The massive Vorix vessel, which had shrugged off their best efforts, now retreated under the relentless assault of the newcomers. With the immediate threat neutralized, Nathan quickly disengaged Kira from the facility systems. Her body slumped in the pod, the glow of her skin dimming to a soft, steady light. "Vital signs stabilizing," Dr. Reeves reported, relief evident in her voice. I think we've done it. The treatment was successful." As if in response to the doctor's words, the stasis pod began to open with a gentle hiss. Nathan held his breath as Kira stirred, her eyes fluttering open. She sat up slowly, her movements graceful and fluid. Nathan gasped as he took in her transformed appearance. Kira's skin shimmered with a subtle, otherworldly luminescence. Her eyes, now a swirling mix of human iris and alien bioluminescence, fixed on him with an intensity that took his breath away. "Nathan," she whispered, her voice carrying new harmonics that sent shivers down his spine. She reached out, and as their hands touched, Nathan felt a spark of the profound connection they had shared during the crisis. Their reunion was interrupted by a chime from the communication system. The Luminari were requesting a meeting with representatives from all species present on Mars. As Nathan helped Kira to her feet, steadying her as she adjusted to her new form, he knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter in their lives and in the history of interstellar relations. With Kira by his side, her warm hand in his, Nathan prepared to face whatever challenges this new cosmic stage might bring. The future was uncertain, but for the first time since the Vorix attack began, he felt a glimmer of hope for what lay ahead. As Nathan helped Kira adjust to her new form, the facility around them gradually settled into an uneasy calm. The immediate Vorix threat had been neutralized, but the arrival of the Luminari opened up a new chapter filled with both promise and uncertainty. Over the next few days, Nathan found himself constantly stealing glances at Kira, marveling at her transformation. Her skin now held a subtle, otherworldly glow, and her eyes seemed to contain entire galaxies. But it wasn't just her physical appearance that had changed. There was a new grace to her movements, a quiet confidence that hadn't been there before. As Nathan worked tirelessly to prepare for the upcoming diplomatic meeting with the Luminari representatives, Kira began to explore her newfound abilities. One afternoon, as Nathan pored over reports in the command center, he felt a gentle touch on his mind. "Nathan, Kira's voice echoed in his thoughts, clear as if she were standing right beside him. He looked up, startled, to find her across the room, eyes closed in concentration. "I can feel the energy fields around us," she explained, her mental voice tinged with wonder. "It's like a web connecting everything. I think I can manipulate it." To demonstrate, she raised her hand, and a nearby datapad rose smoothly into the air, suspended by an invisible force. Nathan watched, awestruck, as she guided it gracefully through the air before setting it down gently on his desk. "That's incredible," he breathed, both amazed and slightly unnerved by the display of power. The days leading up to the summit were a flurry of activity. Nathan coordinated with Earth's leaders, the Nigean High Council, and the Zarkoth refugees to prepare their respective delegations. Kira's abilities proved invaluable during this time, as she could effortlessly communicate across vast distances, relaying messages and facilitating discussions. Finally, the day of the diplomatic summit arrived. The newly constructed conference chamber within the Mars facility buzzed with an air of anticipation. Nathan stood at the entrance, greeting delegates as they arrived. His breath caught in his throat as the Luminari ambassador entered. Zilvara, the Luminari representative, was a tall, ethereal being that seemed to glow from within. Her movements were fluid, almost musical, and her eyes held a depth of wisdom that made Nathan feel like a child in comparison. As the summit commenced, Nathan took his place at the head of the human delegation. He watched with a mixture of pride and awe as Kira seamlessly facilitated communication between the diverse group of species. Her enhanced empathic abilities allowed her to convey not just words, but intentions and emotions, bridging cultural gaps with ease. The discussions were intense and wide-ranging. Zilvar revealed the Luminari's long history of monitoring other civilizations, explaining that the recent conflict with the Vorks had accelerated their decision to make contact. "We have watched your species grow and evolve," Zilvar said, her voice a melodic hum that seemed to resonate within Nathan's chest. "The time has come for us to stand together against the darkness that threatens us all." The Luminari's proposal of an interstellar alliance sparked heated debate among the delegates. Nathan listened intently as arguments for and against acceptance were presented. The offer of advanced technology, including faster-than-light travel and superior energy weapons, was tantalizing. But he could see the worry in some delegates' eyes, the fear of hidden agendas or loss of autonomy. As the discussions wore on, Nathan found his gaze continually drawn to Kira. She moved among the delegates with a newfound confidence, her presence a calming influence on the often tense proceedings. He felt a surge of emotion watching her, a mix of pride, admiration, and something deeper that he wasn't quite ready to name. The summit was in its third day when the alarms blared. Jake's voice cut through the chamber, urgent and tense. "Commander, long-range scans have detected increased activity from the Vork's mothership. They're launching smaller craft. It looks like they're preparing for another assault." The chamber erupted into a flurry of activity. Nathan quickly took charge, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We need to accelerate our discussions. The Vork's threat is imminent, and we must be prepared to face it together." In the tense hours that followed, Nathan proposed a joint training program to integrate the fighting styles and technologies of all four species. The idea was met with enthusiasm, particularly from the Zarkoth refugees eager to contribute to the defense of their new home. As the alliance began to take shape, Kira approached Nathan with an idea that would change everything. "I think I can establish a permanent psychic network," she said, her eyes shimmering with excitement. It would link key members of each species, allowing for instant communication and coordination during battle. Nathan's brow furrowed as he considered the implications. "Are you sure it's safe? Your abilities are still stabilizing." Kira nodded confidently. "I can do this, Nathan. It's what I was meant for." As they discussed the potential of the psychic network, a group of Zarkoth refugees, led by a young female named Vexlira, approached them. Vexlira's eyes were wide with a mix of fear and hope as she spoke. We may be able to help, she said hesitantly. Some of us possess latent psychic abilities, similar to Kira's but less developed. We could potentially amplify and support her abilities, reducing the strain of maintaining the network. Nathan's mind raced with the possibilities this new information presented. A special task force combining Kira's unique abilities with those of the psychically gifted Zarkov could be the key to their united defense strategy. As he began formulating plans to integrate this new development, Nathan noticed the Luminari ambassador approaching. Zilvara's ethereal form seemed to shimmer with an inner light as she beckoned him to a private corner of the chamber. "Nathan," she said, her voice low and melodic, "there is something you must know about Kira. We believe she may be the key to unlocking an ancient technology left behind by a long-lost precursor race. This technology could be crucial in our fight against the Vorax and other threats that lurk in the depths of the galaxy." Nathan's mind reeled at the implications of this revelation. As he opened his mouth to respond, the facility's alarms blared once again. The Vorax fleet had begun its advance towards Mars, setting the stage for another confrontation that would test the fledgling alliance to its limits. The facility shuddered as another volley of Vorax weapons fire impacted the outer defenses. Nathan's comm unit crackled to life. "Commander, we have multiple breaches in Sectors 3 and 7, Jake's voice reported, tension evident in his usually calm demeanor. "Vorax ground forces are attempting to penetrate the facility." "Understood," Nathan replied, his mind racing. He turned to the assembled alliance leaders, their faces a mix of grit and fear. "We need to act now. Ambassador Zilvara, you mentioned something about Kira being key to unlocking ancient technology. What exactly did you mean?" The Luminari's ethereal form seemed to shimmer with urgency as she spoke. "We believe Kira's unique physiology may be capable of interfacing with precursor artifacts. This technology could potentially turn the tide of this battle and future conflicts." Nathan's gaze shifted to Kira, who stood nearby, her skin emitting a soft, pulsating glow. She met his eyes, a mixture of uncertainty and grit in her transformed irises. I can feel something," Kira said, her voice carrying new harmonics that sent shivers down Nathan's spine. "It's like there's an energy field all around us, and I can almost touch it." As if to demonstrate, Kira raised her hand. A nearby datapad rose smoothly into the air, suspended by an invisible force. The assembled leaders watched in awe as she guided it through a series of complex maneuvers before gently setting it down. "Incredible," breathed Vexlira, the young Zarkov refugee. "Some of us possess similar abilities, but nothing this refined." Nathan made a split-second decision. "Kira, I need you to implement your psychic network proposal. Vexlira, gather any Zarkov with psychic abilities. We're forming a special task force, Nexus Prime." As Vexlira hurried off, Nathan turned to the Nigean representative. "Ambassador Zorax, we need every advantage we can get. Are there any other assets you can bring to bear?" Zorax hesitated, then nodded grimly. "We have a hidden weapons platform in Mars orbit. I'll give the order to deploy it immediately." Alarms blared again as the facility rocked with another impact. Nathan steadied himself against the console, watching as Kira closed her eyes in concentration. The air around her seemed to vibrate with energy. "The network is active," Kira announced, her voice echoing strangely as if coming from multiple sources at once. "I can sense everyone connected. It's overwhelming." Nathan watched as Kira's body temperature began to rise, her skin glistening with sweat. He could feel the strain she was under through their mental link. "Kira, don't push yourself too hard," he warned, reaching out to steady her. Before she could respond, Jake's voice cut through the comm system once more. "Sir, the Vorax have breached the outer defenses. They're on the ground and advancing rapidly." Nathan's eyes sharp, I'm heading out with a mixed squad to repel the ground assault. Kira, coordinate our movements through the network. As Nathan moved to leave, Zilvara stepped forward, her luminescent form pulsing with urgency. Commander, there's something else you should know. We have a device that could amplify Kira's connection to the precursor technology. It might unlock powers that could save us all, but the risks to her are significant. Nathan froze, his gaze darting between Zilvara and Kira. The weight of command pressed down on him. The lives of everyone in the facility, and perhaps the entire alliance, hanging in the balance. What kind of risks are we talking about? He asked, his voice low and tense. The process could permanently alter her physiology, Zilvara explained. There's no way to predict exactly how it might change her. Kira stepped forward, her eyes meeting Nathan's. I'm willing to take that risk, she said, her voice steady despite the tremors racking her body from maintaining the psychic network. Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. Through the viewport, Nathan could see the massive form of the Vork's mothership moving into position, blotting out the sun and casting an ominous shadow over the Martian landscape. Time was running out. Nathan looked into Kira's eyes, seeing both fear and perseverance reflected back at him. The fate of Mars, the Alliance, and possibly the entire galaxy rested on his next decision. Zilvara, prepare the device, Nathan ordered, his voice hoarse. Kira, are you absolutely sure about this? Kira nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth despite the gravity of the situation. I trust you, Nathan. Whatever happens, we're in this together. As Zilvara hurried to retrieve the mysterious Luminari device, Nathan pulled Kira into a tight embrace. For a moment, the chaos of battle faded away, leaving only the two of them, standing on the precipice of an uncertain future. The moment was shattered by another violent tremor. Nathan reluctantly pulled away, his hand lingering on Kira's arm. I have to go lead the ground defense. Stay strong and be careful. With a final look at Kira, Nathan turned and strode towards the exit, calling for his mixed-species squad to assemble. As he reached the doorway, he paused, looking back at the woman who had become so much more than just his second-in-command. Kira, he called out, his voice barely audible over the din of battle. Whatever happens, I'll find my way back to you. With that, Nathan stepped out into the corridor, the sounds of combat growing louder with each step. Behind him, Kira stood at the center of a gathering storm, her body glowing with otherworldly energy as Zilvara approached with the Luminari device. The next few moments would determine not just the outcome of this battle, but the shape of the future itself. As Nathan moved to confront the Vork's threat, he could only hope that the risks they were taking would be worth the potential reward. Rewards. As Nathan reached for the device, his hand trembling slightly, Kira's voice cut through the chaos. Wait, she said, her eyes locked onto the alien contraption. I can feel it. Calling to me. Kira stepped forward, her body still glowing with ethereal energy. She reached out, her fingers hovering mere inches from the sleek, otherworldly surface of the Luminari device. The air around her seemed to crackle with anticipation. Kira, are you absolutely certain? Nathan asked, his voice tight with concern. She nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth despite the gravity of the situation. I am. Whatever happens, we're in this together, remember? With a deep breath, Kira placed her hand on the device. The effect was instantaneous and dramatic. Her body jerked upward, suspended in midair as if gravity had suddenly lost its hold. A cocoon of pulsating energy enveloped her, growing brighter with each passing second. The facility's power grid fluctuated wildly, lights flickering and consoles sputtering as they struggled to contain the massive surge of energy emanating from Kira. Warning klaxons blared, adding to the cacophony of battle sounds echoing through the complex. Everyone, Back away, Nathan shouted, ushering the assembled leaders to a safe distance. His eyes never left Kira's suspended form. A mixture of awe and fear etched across his face. As Kira's connection to the precursor technology deepened, strange phenomena began to manifest throughout the Mars facility. Holographic projections of unfamiliar star systems flickered into existence, hanging in the air like ghostly roadmaps to distant galaxies. Dormant systems suddenly sprang to life, consoles lighting up with cascades of alien script. Outside, the Vork's attack faltered. Their ships, previously bearing down on the facility with relentless grit, suddenly found themselves rebuffed by an invisible barrier of energy extending from the complex. "Commander," Jake's voice crackled over the comm, "you need to see this. The Vorks, they've stopped advancing. It's like they've hit a wall." Before Nathan could respond, a new figure materialized in the command center. She appeared human at first glance, but her form shimmered with an otherworldly quality that marked her as something else entirely. "Greetings," the figure said, her voice resonating with harmonics that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind. "I am Astra, an artificial intelligence construct left behind by those you call the precursors." Nathan stepped forward, positioning himself protectively between Astra and the still suspended Kira. "What's happening to her?" he demanded. Astra's gaze shifted to Kira, a look of what could almost be described as pride crossing her features. "Your Kira has successfully interfaced with our ancient systems. Her unique hybrid physiology has unlocked capabilities long thought lost to time." As if on cue, Kira's eyes snapped open. They glowed with an inner light, no longer simply reflecting the energy around her, but seeming to generate it from within. When she spoke, her voice echoed with new harmonics that sent shivers down Nathan's spine. "I can see everything, Nathan," Kira said, wonder evident in her tone. "The facility, the planet, the Vork ships. It's all connected." With a gesture that seemed almost careless in its ease, Kira extended her consciousness, linking with the Mars facility's defense grid. Under her control, the energy projectors reconfigured, forming a massive defensive sphere around the entire planet. The Vork's weapons, previously so devastating, now dissipated harmlessly upon impact. Nathan's tactical mind immediately grasped the implications of this dramatic shift in power. He turned to Ambassador Zorax and the Luminari representative. "We need to launch a counteroffensive now, while we have the advantage. Ambassador, that hidden weapons platform of yours, can you bring it online?" Zorax nodded grimly, already tapping commands into his communication device. "It will be ready in moments." As the Allied forces engaged the Vork's fleet, Kira's enhanced abilities provided an overwhelming advantage. She manipulated the energy fields around enemy ships with pinpoint precision, disrupting their systems and creating openings for Allied attacks. The Nigean weapon platform, guided by Kira's unerring targeting, inflicted catastrophic damage on the Vork's mothership. But even as victory seemed within reach, Nathan noticed a troubling development. Kira's physical form began to flicker, oscillating between solid matter and pure energy. Her face, when visible, was contorted in a grimace of pain and concentration. "Astra," Nathan called out, his voice tight with worry. "What's happening to her?" The AI construct's expression grew solemn. The human elements of Kira's physiology are struggling to contain the precursor powers. If left unchecked, she may lose her physical form entirely, becoming a being of pure energy. The implications hit Nathan like a physical blow. He stepped towards Kira, reaching out to her, only to be repelled by an impenetrable energy field surrounding her. "There must be something we can do," Nathan insisted, his eyes never leaving Kira's flickering form. It was Vexlira who stepped forward, her young face set with purpose. "Perhaps we can help," she said, gesturing to her fellow Zarkov refugees. "Our psychic abilities, Maybe we can form a supportive network, help anchor her consciousness. Without waiting for approval, Vexlira and her team linked minds with Kira. The effect was immediate. Kira's form stabilized somewhat, though she remained suspended in her energy cocoon. The respite was short-lived. A massive energy signature suddenly appeared on the tactical displays, emanating from the Vorix mothership. "Sir," Jake's voice cut through the tense atmosphere, "the Vorix are powering up some kind of superweapon. Our projections show it might be strong enough to overcome even Kira's enhanced shields." As the devastating beam of energy hurtled towards Mars, Kira's face set in a mask of concentration. With a gesture that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality, she created a localized space-time distortion, redirecting the Vorix energy beam back upon itself. The mothership, struck by its own weapon, began to break apart in Mars orbit. With their main vessel destroyed and their forces in disarray, the remaining Vorix ships retreated from the solar system. As the immediate threat passed, a new challenge presented itself. Kira remained suspended in her energy cocoon, her fate uncertain. Nathan stood before the shimmering barrier, feeling the warmth of her presence, but unable to reach her. "Kira," he called out, his voice barely above a whisper, "come back to me." In response, the energy field pulsed, a faint echo of Kira's consciousness reaching out to him. The battle was won, but the struggle to save Kira was just beginning. Nathan's eyes locked onto Kira's shimmering form, his heart racing as he searched for any sign of recognition in her ethereal features. "We need to stabilize her," Astra's voice cut through the tense silence. "Her human physiology cannot sustain this energy state indefinitely." Nathan tore his gaze away from Kira, turning to face the precursor AI. "What do we need to do?" "First, we must create a containment field to prevent further energy dispersion," Astra explained, her form flickering as she interfaced with the facility systems. "Then, we can work on anchoring her consciousness back to her physical form." As Astra spoke, the facility's personnel sprang into action. Engineers and scientists from various species huddled around consoles, their fingers flying across alien interfaces as they worked to implement Astra's instructions. Days blurred together as Nathan divided his attention between overseeing the facility's recovery efforts and monitoring Kira's condition. He barely slept, subsisting on stimulants and sheer willpower as he coordinated repair teams and pored over data from Kira's energy readings. On the fourth day, as Nathan stood before the shimmering barrier containing Kira's essence, alarms blared throughout the facility. He rushed to the command center, where a harried-looking Jake awaited him. "Sir, we've detected an incoming object," Jake reported, gesturing to the main view screen. "It appears to be a Vorix escape pod." Nathan's eyes narrowed as he studied the trajectory of the small craft. "Any signs of hostility?" Jake shook his head. "No. Sir, it's on a direct course for our landing zone, and its weapon systems appear to be offline." "Maintain alert status, but allow it to land," Nathan ordered after a moment's consideration. "I want a security team ready to meet our guest." As the escape pod touched down just beyond the facility's perimeter, Nathan made his way to the airlock. He arrived just as the security team finished their sweep, confirming the presence of a single occupant. The airlock cycled open, revealing a tall, lithe figure. The Vorix female's exoskeleton gleamed dully in the harsh Martian light, her compound eyes fixed on Nathan as she stepped forward. "I am Zexera," she announced, her mandibles clicking softly as she spoke. "I seek asylum with your alliance." Nathan's hand instinctively tightened on his sidearm. "Why should we trust you?" Zexera's antennae twitched, a gesture Nathan had come to recognize as a sign of agitation in Vorix body language. "Because I bring information vital to understanding the conflict between our peoples. Information that could lead to peace." For a long moment, Nathan weighed his options. Finally, he nodded to the security team. "Escort her to the conference room." I'll hear what she has to say. As Zexera was led away, Nathan's comm unit chimed. It was Vexlera, her young voice tinged with excitement. Commander, we've had a breakthrough with Kira. You need to see this. Nathan's heart leapt as he raced back to the containment area. Inside, he found Vexlera and her team of Zarkov psychics gathered around the energy field housing Kira's consciousness. The field itself had changed, taking on a more defined shape that closely resembled Kira's physical form. We've managed to create a specialized containment field, Vexlera explained, her eyes shining with pride. It mimics the properties of physical matter, giving Kira's consciousness a more tangible anchor. As if in response to Vexlera's words, the energy field pulsed. A familiar voice, tinged with an otherworldly resonance, filled the room. Nathan, can you hear me? Nathan stepped forward, his hand reaching out instinctively before stopping short of the shimmering barrier. Kira, is that really you? The energy form rippled, coalescing into a more distinct outline of Kira's features. Her eyes, still glowing with inner light, focused on Nathan. It's me. I can see you clearly now. As Nathan and Kira reconnected, Astra materialized beside them. This is a significant step forward, the AI construct observed. However, fully restoring Kira to her physical form will require a more permanent solution. Before Nathan could respond, Kira's voice cut in, urgency evident in her tone. Nathan, there's so much I need to tell you. The precursor knowledge. I can access it now. I think I know why the Vorks attacked, and how we might be able to stop this war. Nathan's mind reeled, torn between his joy at communicating with Kira again and the weight of his responsibilities as a leader. Kira, that's incredible, but we've got another situation developing. A Vork's escape pod just landed, and its occupant is claiming to have information that could lead to peace. Kira's energy formed pulsed with surprise. We need to hear what they have to say. The knowledge I've gained, it aligns with some of what the Vorks have been saying about their motivations. As if on cue, Nathan's comm unit chimed again. It was Jake, his voice tense. Sir, the Luminari representatives are requesting an immediate meeting. They say they have a proposal regarding the Vork situation. Nathan took a deep breath, centering himself amidst the swirling chaos of events. He looked at Kira, her shimmering form a testament to the extraordinary circumstances they found themselves in. All right, he said, his voice firm with renewed purpose. Let's hear what everyone has to say. It's time we started putting the pieces of this puzzle together. As Nathan turned to leave, Kira's voice called out to him once more. Nathan, whatever happens, remember that we're in this together. He paused at the threshold, looking back at the woman who had come to mean so much to him. Despite the uncertainty that lay ahead, a small smile played at the corners of his mouth. Always, he replied, before stepping out to face the challenges that awaited him. Nathan's heart raced as he approached the specialized chamber where the attempt to bond with Kira would take place. The corridor leading to the room hummed with barely held back energy, the air crackling with an electric charge that made the hair on his arms stand on end. As the door slid open, Nathan's eyes were immediately drawn to the swirling vortex of light at the center of the room. Kira's energy form pulsed and shifted within the containment field, her features occasionally coalescing into recognizable shapes before dissolving again into pure luminescence. Dr. Eliza Reeves approached Nathan, her face a mask of professional calm despite the tension evident in her posture. Commander, we're ready to begin the procedure. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Nathan nodded, his gaze never leaving Kira's shimmering form. I'm sure. It's our best chance to bring her back. As Nathan stepped onto the platform beneath the energy field, Dr. Reeves and her team began calibrating the equipment. The low hum of machinery filled the air, punctuated by the beeps and chirps of monitoring devices. Initiating psychic link in 3, 2, 1, Dr. Reeves announced, her finger hovering over the activation switch. The moment the connection was established, Nathan felt as if he'd been plunged into an ocean of pure sensation. Colors he'd never seen before exploded behind his eyelids, and sounds beyond human hearing filled his mind. He gasped, struggling to maintain his sense of self amidst the overwhelming flood of information. Gradually, the chaos began to coalesce into coherent images and sensations. Nathan found himself reliving Kira's memories, her childhood on Earth, her first encounter with alien technology, the moment she realized her hybrid nature. Each experience was crystal clear, as if he were living it himself. As the connection deepened, Nathan felt his consciousness expanding, reaching out beyond the confines of his physical form. He could sense the intricate web of energy that connected all matter in the universe, could feel the ebb and flow of cosmic forces that shaped reality itself. Suddenly, a searing pain shot through Nathan's body. He cried out, his back arching as every nerve ending felt like it was on fire. Through the haze of agony, he heard Dr. Reeves shouting orders to her team. His vitals are spiking. We're detecting genetic resequencing. This wasn't supposed to happen. Nathan forced his eyes open, looking down at his hands. To his shock, his skin had begun to glow with the same ethereal light that surrounded Kira. He could feel his body changing, transforming into something more. Within the energy field, Kira's form had become more defined. Her eyes, glowing with inner light, locked onto Nathan's. When she spoke, her voice echoed in his mind rather than his ears. "Nathan, what's happening to you?" Before he could respond, another wave of pain washed over him. Nathan fell to his knees, his vision blurring as his consciousness expanded even further. Flashes of advanced technologies and long-lost civilizations flooded his mind, threatening to overwhelm his sense of self. Through the chaos, he felt a presence, Kira's mind, reaching out to anchor him. Their consciousnesses intertwined, forming a bond deeper than anything Nathan had ever experienced. As the transformation reached its peak, Nathan heard Dr. Reeves' voice, distant and frantic. "The energy output is off the charts. We need to shut it down before dash." A blinding flash of light engulfed the chamber, and Nathan's world went dark. When he regained awareness, Nathan found himself lying on the cold floor of the chamber. His body felt different, heavier, yet somehow more vibrant. He turned his head, seeing Kira unconscious beside him, her form now solid and tangible. Before he could fully process what had happened, darkness claimed him once again. Nathan drifted in and out of consciousness, catching snippets of conversation around him. Unprecedented neural activity. Changes to their genetic structure. Facility systems repairing themselves. He wanted to open his eyes, to ask what was happening, but his body refused to respond. Instead, his mind continued to process the vast influx of information it had received during the bonding process. Images of advanced civilizations flashed through his thoughts, accompanied by knowledge of technologies beyond human comprehension. Nathan felt as if his mind had become a vast library, filled with the accumulated wisdom of countless ages. Through it all, he could sense Kira's presence. Their minds remained connected, a constant thread of awareness, linking them even in their comatose state. He could feel her thoughts intertwining with his own, their shared experiences creating a unique synthesis of human and alien perspectives. As time passed, though Nathan had no way of knowing how much, he became aware of changes occurring around him. The facility itself seemed to be responding to their presence, systems activating and reconfiguring themselves autonomously. In the depths of his mind, Nathan knew that when he and Kira finally awakened, nothing would be the same. The fate of multiple species, the future of interstellar relations, and the potential reawakening of long-dormant precursor technology all hung in the balance. But for now, As his consciousness continued to expand and process, all Nathan could do was wait, and hope that when the time came, he and Kira would be ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Nathan's consciousness swam in a sea of cosmic knowledge, drifting between awareness and oblivion. Time lost all meaning as his mind expanded, absorbing vast quantities of information that no human had ever before comprehended. Through it all, he felt Kira's presence, a constant anchor in the storm of data and sensations. As Nathan and Kira remained in their coma-like state, the Mars facility began to undergo a series of remarkable transformations. The precursor technology embedded within the base activated, responding to the couple's altered state. Systems that had lain dormant for millennia hummed to life, their purpose finally realized. Dr. Eliza Reeves stood before a bank of monitors, her eyes wide with amazement as she watched the facility's life support systems evolve before her very eyes. The air grew richer, more Earth-like, and the oppressive Martian atmosphere outside seemed to recede. "This is incredible," she breathed, turning to her colleague. "The base is creating its own microclimate. We can remove our environmental suits." As if to prove her point, Dr. Reeves unlatched her helmet and took a deep breath of the newly oxygenated air. Around her, other members of the facility staff followed suit, marveling at the ease with which they could now move and work. In the conference room, tensions ran high as the first round of peace talks between the Alliance and the Vork's delegation got underway. Ambassador Zorak sat at the head of the table, his normally impassive features creased with concern as he observed the proceedings. Krostor, the stern Vork's representative, leaned forward, his mandibles clicking softly as he spoke. "We understand the gravity of our actions, but you must comprehend the desperation that drove us to this point. Our homeworld is dying, our resources depleted. We seek not conquest, but survival." Jake, representing the human contingent, nodded slowly. "We hear you, Krostor, but surely there must be a way to address your resource crisis without resorting to violence." As the negotiations continued, Dr. Reeves noticed a change in Nathan and Kira's vital signs. Their brainwave patterns began to synchronize with the facility's power fluctuations, creating a feedback loop that seemed to strengthen both the couple and the base's systems. Vex Lyra, the young Zarkov psychic, approached Dr. Reeves with a daring proposal. "Doctor, I believe my team and I can establish a mental link with Nathan and Kira. With the facility's enhanced systems, we might be able to make contact." After careful consideration and consultation with Ambassador Zorax, the plan was approved. Vex Lyra and her team gathered around Nathan and Kira's medical beds, their eyes closed in concentration as they reached out with their minds. The moment the psychic link was established, the Zarkov team gasped in unison. They found themselves adrift in a vast mental landscape, surrounded by swirling images of advanced technology and alien worlds. The sheer volume of information was overwhelming, and several team members were forced to withdraw, their minds unable to process the flood of data. Suddenly, Nathan and Kira's bodies began to glow with an intense, pulsating light. The facility's power grid surged, alarms blaring as systems struggled to cope with the energy output. In the midst of this chaos, a new presence made itself known. A holographic projection materialized in the medical bay, its form unlike any species present had ever encountered. The being's voice resonated with ancient wisdom as it spoke. "I am Xandros, representative of those you call the precursors. The transformation of Nathan and Kira has activated a long-dormant protocol designed to facilitate contact between our kind and emerging spacefaring civilizations." The appearance of Xandros sent shockwaves through the facility. The Vork's delegation, who had been observing the proceedings, bristled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Krostor stepped forward, his voice trembling slightly. "Are you saying that you can help us? That you have the power to save our people?" Xandros turned its attention to the Vork's representative, We possess knowledge that could potentially solve your resource crisis and elevate the technology of all species present. However, this knowledge comes with great responsibility and potential danger if misused. As the implications of this offer sank in, Nathan and Kira began to stir. Their eyes fluttered open, now shimmering with an otherworldly light. When they spoke, their voices carried an echo of ancient power, perfectly in sync with one another. "We have seen potential futures," they said in unison. "We understand technologies beyond current comprehension. The path ahead is fraught with both promise and peril." Ambassador Zorax, recognizing the historical significance of the moment, stepped forward. "In light of these extraordinary circumstances, I propose the formation of a joint council to oversee the integration of precursor knowledge. This council will include representatives from all species present, including the Vorax, to ensure a balanced approach to utilizing these new technologies." As Nathan and Kira slowly regained their full faculties, they began to share insights into the precursor civilization and its technologies. They explained that the Mars facility was actually a node in a vast network of similar installations scattered throughout the galaxy, each designed to guide and support emerging civilizations. Xandros nodded approvingly. "You begin to understand. Let me show you the true scope of what lies before you." A holographic display of the galaxy materialized in the center of the room. Xandros began to highlight points of light, each representing a precursor facility waiting to be discovered. Nathan and Kira stepped forward, their eyes fixed on the galactic map. The transformed couple exchanged a glance, silently acknowledging the weight of the responsibility that now rested on their shoulders. As keys to unlocking the secrets of the precursors, they would play a crucial role in shaping the future of multiple civilizations. The assembled leaders of the Alliance, the Vorax representatives, and the newly awakened Nathan and Kira gathered around the holographic display. Xandros began to reveal the locations of other precursor facilities, each point of light representing a new frontier of exploration and discovery. As the gravity of the situation settled over the room, Nathan felt a familiar presence in his mind. Kira's thoughts intertwined with his own, a silent reminder that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Together, the weight of their newfound responsibilities settled over them like a heavy cloak, but the strength of their connection provided a measure of comfort. As the holographic display of the galaxy faded, the assembled leaders began to disperse, their minds reeling from the implications of Xandros' revelations. Nathan and Kira found themselves at the center of a whirlwind of activity, with representatives from every species clamoring for their attention. Dr. Reeves approached the couple, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and concern. "Nathan, Kira, we need to run a full battery of tests to understand the extent of your transformation. The implications for interspecies relations are staggering." Before they could respond, Ambassador Zorax intervened. "While I understand the scientific importance of such examinations, we must also consider the diplomatic ramifications of their unique status. I propose we establish a joint council to oversee all matters related to precursor knowledge and its integration." The suggestion was met with murmurs of agreement from the assembled leaders. As discussions began in earnest, Nathan felt a gentle pressure on his mind, Kira's thoughts intertwining with his own. "We need a moment," she communicated silently. Nathan nodded, and they quietly slipped away from the crowd. They found themselves in a newly formed garden, a lush oasis that had sprouted within the once sterile confines of the Mars facility. The precursor technology had transformed the environment, creating a breathtaking fusion of Earth-like and alien flora. As they sat on a bench surrounded by iridescent flowers, Nathan took Kira's hand. "This is all happening so fast," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm not sure I'm ready for this level of responsibility." Kira squeezed his hand, her eyes shimmering with otherworldly light. "We're in this together, Nathan. Our bond is stronger than any challenge we might face." Their moment of peace was short-lived. Dr. Reeves appeared at the garden's entrance, her face flushed with excitement. "There you are. The Joint Council is convening, and they're requesting your presence immediately." The following days blurred into a whirlwind of meetings, demonstrations, and experiments. Nathan and Kira found themselves at the center of a maelstrom of scientific and diplomatic activity. Their unique abilities made them invaluable to the future of interspecies relations, but the constant demands on their time left them with precious few moments alone. During a rare break between sessions, Nathan and Kira retreated to their quarters. As the door closed behind them, Nathan let out a deep sigh. "I never thought I'd miss the simplicity of our early days here." Kira nodded, her expression a mixture of exhaustion and tenacity. "We're making progress, though. The Vork's delegation seems more open to peaceful solutions, and the alliance is growing stronger." Their conversation was interrupted by a chime from the facility's communication system. Ambassador Zorax's voice filled the room. "Nathan, Kira, your presence is required in the main laboratory. We've made a significant discovery in the lower levels of the facility." Exchanging a look of curiosity and resignation, the couple made their way to the lab. They found a group of scientists and diplomats gathered around a holographic display of the facility's substructure. Dr. Reeves gestured excitedly as they entered. "We've detected a vast network of tunnels and chambers beneath the surface. It appears to be a precursor origin, and it's responding to your unique biosignatures." Krostor, the Vork's representative, clicked his mandibles in anticipation. This could be the key to unlocking more advanced precursor knowledge. "We must explore these tunnels immediately." Nathan felt a familiar tug at the edge of his consciousness, the precursor technology calling to him. He shared a silent glance with Kira, knowing she felt it too. Ambassador Zorax stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "While I understand the excitement, we must proceed with caution. Nathan and Kira's well-being must be our primary concern. I propose we form a small expedition team, with them at the lead." As preparations for the expedition began, Nathan and Kira found themselves undergoing yet another round of medical examinations. The tests revealed that their physical attributes had been enhanced along with their mental capabilities, their bodies now more resilient and adaptable. The day of the expedition arrived, and a small team assembled at the entrance to the newly discovered tunnels. As Nathan and Kira stepped forward, the ancient mechanisms hummed to life, responding to their presence. The group descended into the depths of Mars, surrounded by walls that pulsed with faint, ethereal light. As they ventured deeper, holographic projections sprang to life around them, displaying scenes from the precursor civilization's history. Nathan and Kira led the way, their enhanced senses guiding them through the winding passages. The others followed in awe, recording every detail of their surroundings. Hours into their exploration, they came upon a sealed chamber that seemed to react specifically to Nathan and Kira's hybrid physiology. As they approached, the door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a room bathed in pulsating energy. At the center stood a device that bore a striking resemblance to the one responsible for their initial transformation, only far more advanced. The implications of its presence sent a ripple of excitement and apprehension through the group. As Nathan and Kira studied the device, a holographic interface sprang to life, displaying information in the precursor language they now understood. The device's purpose became clear. It was designed to further enhance the abilities of those already transformed by precursor technology. The discovery sent shockwaves through the expedition team. Krostor's eyes gleamed with scarcely controlled excitement, while Dr. Reeves furiously took notes on her datapad. Ambassador Zorax, however, remained cautious. "We must inform the Joint Council immediately," he said, his voice grave. "The implications of this device are too significant to be decided by our small group alone." As they made their way back to the surface, Nathan and Kira could feel the weight of their discovery pressing down upon them. The potential benefits of further transformation were tantalizing, but the risks and unknowns loomed large. Upon their return, news of the underground complex and the mysterious device spread quickly. The Joint Council convened an emergency session, with representatives from all species present arguing passionately about the best course of action. Some, like Krostor, advocated for immediate activation of the device, seeing it as a shortcut to technological advancement and a potential solution to the Vorix's resource crisis. Others, including Ambassador Zorax, urged caution, fearing the unpredictable consequences of rushing into further transformations. As the debates raged on, Nathan and Kira found themselves at the center of a growing controversy. Their unique status as hybrids with access to precursor knowledge made them both invaluable assets and potential threats in the eyes of various factions. Overwhelmed by the constant scrutiny and pressure, the couple retreated once again to the sanctuary of the alien garden. As they sat surrounded by the beauty of their transformed environment, Nathan turned to Kira, his eyes filled with a mixture of dedication and uncertainty. "Whatever happens," he said softly, "we face it together. Our bond is our strength, and we'll use our abilities to benefit all species involved." Kira nodded, her hand finding his. "We've come too far to turn back now. The path ahead may be uncertain, but we'll navigate it as one." As they sat in contemplative silence, the weight of their responsibilities settled around them like a heavy mantle. The future of multiple civilizations hung in the balance, with the potential for both great advancement and unforeseen dangers. The newly discovered precursor device represented a crossroads, and the decisions made in the coming days would shape the course of galactic history. The sound of approaching footsteps broke through their reverie. Ambassador Zorax appeared at the garden's entrance, his expression grave. "Nathan, Kira," he said, his voice tinged with urgency, "the Council has reached a decision. They're ready to present their plan for the precursor device, and they require your presence immediately." Exchanging a look of drive, Nathan and Kira rose to their feet, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they followed Ambassador Zorax out of the garden, the transformed Mars facility hummed with energy, a testament to the profound changes already set in motion. The next phase of their journey was about to begin, and the fate of multiple worlds hung in the balance. As Nathan and Kira followed Ambassador Zorax out of the garden, a thunderous explosion rocked the facility. Alarms blared, and the air filled with acrid smoke. The ambassador's communicator crackled to life, a frantic voice cutting through the chaos. "Ambassador, we're under attack. A group of Vorix dissidents has breached our outer defenses." Zorax's eyes widened in shock. "Impossible! How did they—" Another blast interrupted him, closer this time. Nathan and Kira exchanged a determined glance, their enhanced senses already processing the situation. "We need to get to the control room," Nathan said, his voice calm despite the urgency. They sprinted through the corridors, dodging panicked staff and debris. As they ran, Kira's mind reached out, interfacing with the facility's systems. Her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light as information flooded her consciousness. "The attackers are using advanced energy weapons," she reported. "They've disabled our main shield generators." They burst into the control room, finding it in disarray. Screens flickered with damage reports and security feeds, showing the advancing Vorix forces. Nathan's fingers flew over the consoles, his enhanced intellect allowing him to navigate the complex systems with ease. "I'm activating the secondary defenses," he announced. "Kira, can you—" "Already on it," she replied, her mind merging seamlessly with the facility's defense grid. Together, they coordinated a counterattack. Turrets emerged from hidden compartments, targeting the Vorix with precision. Force fields sprang to life, creating choke points to funnel the attackers into kill zones. As they worked, Nathan noticed something odd. "Kira, do you feel that?" She nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "A signal," coming from below. Their enhanced senses detected a faint pulse emanating from the underground chamber, where they had discovered the mysterious precursor device. The signal seemed to intensify with each blast from the Vork's weapons. "We need to investigate," Kira said. "It could be the key to stopping this attack." Nathan hesitated, torn between their duty to defend the facility and the pull of the unknown. Ambassador Zorax, who had been coordinating with the security teams, overheard their exchange. "Go," he urged. "We can hold them off. If there's a connection between the device and these weapons, we need to know." With a nod, Nathan and Kira raced towards the subterranean levels. The facility shook around them as they descended, the sounds of battle growing more distant. When they reached the sealed chamber, the door slid open at their approach, responding to their hybrid physiology. Inside, the device pulsed with energy, its holographic interface alive with swirling patterns. As they approached, their bodies began to glow, resonating with the ancient technology. "We have to risk it," Kira said, reaching for the controls. Nathan placed his hand over hers. Together, they activated the device, and a surge of energy coursed through their bodies. Their vision blurred, replaced by a flood of images and data. In that moment, they saw glimpses of an ancient war between the precursors and a race that bore an uncanny resemblance to the Vorks. As the energy subsided, they found themselves changed. Their abilities had been amplified, their connection to the precursor knowledge deepened. With newfound clarity, they understood the nature of the Vork's weapons and how to counteract them. Racing back to the surface, they found the battle still raging. Nathan's fingers danced over a control panel, reconfiguring the facility's defenses. Kira reached out with her mind, creating an energy field that enveloped the entire complex. The effect was immediate. The Vork's weapons sputtered and died, their energy absorbed and neutralized by the field. Caught off guard, the attackers found themselves outmatched by the facility's reinvigorated defenses. Within minutes, the assault crumbled. Security teams moved in, rounding up the stunned Vork's dissidents. As the last of the attackers were subdued, Nathan and Kira shared their discovery with Ambassador Zorax and the assembled leaders. The Vorks. "They may be descendants of the Precursor's ancient enemy," Nathan explained, his voice heavy with the weight of this revelation. Krostor, the Vork's representative, chittered in disbelief. "Impossible! Our history—" "May not be what you thought," Kira interjected gently. "We've only scratched the surface of this knowledge. There's so much more to uncover." The implications of their discovery sent shockwaves through the assembled group. Ambassador Zorax, ever the diplomat, was quick to seize the opportunity. "We must form a research team immediately," he declared. "Nathan, Kira, your unique abilities make you the ideal candidates to lead this investigation." As the others discussed the logistics of the new mission, Nathan noticed a change in Kira. Her eyes seemed to glow with an inner light, and her movements had taken on an otherworldly grace. When she spoke, there was an echo of ancient knowledge in her voice. "Kira," he whispered, concern etching his features. "Are you all right?" She turned to him, her expression a mixture of wonder and confusion. I'm not sure. There's so much information, Nathan. So many secrets waiting to be unlocked." As they prepared to embark on their new mission, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that their transformation was far from complete. The precursor device had changed them in ways they were only beginning to understand, and the path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. Little did they know that their greatest challenges lay not in the mysteries of the past, but in the unforeseen consequences of their actions. As they delved deeper into the precursor knowledge, the lines between their original selves and their transformed identities would blur, testing the strength of their bond and the limits of their humanity. The implications of their transformation burdened immensely on their minds as they made their way to the council chambers. As they entered, the gathered representatives fell silent, their eyes fixed on the couple. Nathan and Kira took their seats, acutely aware of the tension in the room. Ambassador Zorax cleared his throat and began to speak, but before he could utter a word, an urgent message flashed across the main display screen. Unusual energy signature detected in the underground complex, the automated system announced. Origin unknown. Recommend immediate investigation. Nathan and Kira exchanged glances, their enhanced senses already picking up faint vibrations beneath their feet. Without hesitation, they stood up. "We'll investigate," Nathan said, his voice steady. "Our unique physiology might give us an advantage in dealing with any precursor technology." The council members nodded in agreement, and Ambassador Zorax dismissed them with a wave of his hand. "Be cautious," he warned. "We don't know what you might find down there." As they made their way to the underground complex, Kira interfaced with the facility's systems, her mind processing vast amounts of data. "The energy signature is coming from a section we haven't explored yet," she reported. "It seems to have activated recently." They reached the entrance to the new area, and as they approached, a previously hidden door slid open, responding to their hybrid physiology. The air inside was stale, carrying the scent of ancient machinery and dormant power. Nathan and Kira stepped into a circular chamber, its walls lined with intricate patterns that pulsed with a soft blue light. At the center stood a gleaming stasis pod, its surface adorned with symbols similar to those they had encountered in the precursor device. "Kira, look," Nathan whispered, pointing to the pod's occupant. Through the translucent material, they could make out the form of a female alien being. Her features were a striking blend of Vorax and precursor characteristics, the chitinous exoskeleton of the Vorax combined with the elegant, elongated limbs of the precursors they had seen in historical records. Kira approached the pod, her hand hovering over the control panel. "Should we?" Nathan nodded, his curiosity overriding his caution. "We need to know who she is and why she's here." Together, they initiated the revival process. The pod hummed to life, its internal systems working to bring its occupant back to consciousness. Minutes passed, feeling like hours, until finally, the pod's cover retracted with a soft hiss. The alien's eyes fluttered open, revealing irises that shimmered with an iridescent quality. She sat up slowly, her gaze focusing on Nathan and Kira. "Greetings," she said, her voice melodious and clear. "I am Lyrana of the progenitors. I have awaited this moment for countless millennia." Nathan and Kira introduced themselves, explaining their hybrid nature and the current state of the Alliance. Lyrana listened intently, her expression a mixture of fascination and concern. "The progenitors," she began, "were the common ancestors of both the precursors and the Vorax. I was placed in stasis to serve as a genetic archive and guide for future generations." As Lyrana spoke, sharing crucial information about the ancient conflict that led to the divergence of the precursors and the Vorax, Nathan couldn't help but notice the growing connection between her and Kira. The two seemed to share a unique bond, their hybrid natures creating an instant understanding between them. Word of Lyrana's awakening spread quickly through the facility. Ambassador Zorax and Krostor, along with other Alliance members, gathered in the chamber, eager to meet this living link to their shared past. Krostor, visibly moved by the revelation of the Vorax's connection to the precursors, stepped forward. "This changes everything," he chittered excitedly. "We are not so different after all. Perhaps there is a way for us to solve our resource crisis without conflict." As discussions about utilizing the ancient terraforming technology progressed, Nathan found himself increasingly distracted by the interactions between Kira and Lyrana. The two were deep in conversation, Kira's eyes wide with fascination as Lyrana shared her vast knowledge. A twinge of jealousy twisted in Nathan's gut, followed quickly by concern. He couldn't help but wonder how this new development would affect his relationship with Kira and the delicate balance they had achieved. His thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of the human scientists from Earth, their faces alight with barely held back excitement. Dr. Reeves, their lead researcher, approached Ambassador Zorax. "We must have unrestricted access to study Elwyrana and this terraforming technology," she insisted. "The potential advancements for humanity are immeasurable." The atmosphere in the chamber tensed, other species eyeing the humans warily. Ambassador Zorax, ever the diplomat, raised his hands in a calming gesture. "We must approach this as a united front," he said firmly. "I propose the creation of a diverse research team with representatives from all allied species, including the Vorax. Nathan and Kira, with their unique abilities, will lead this team under Elwyrana's guidance." As the Alliance members debated the details of this new arrangement, Nathan noticed Kira swaying slightly, her eyes unfocused. He rushed to her side, supporting her as she regained her balance. "What's wrong?" he asked, his voice low with concern. Kira blinked, her gaze clearing. I'm not sure. I saw flashes of the past, the conflict between the precursors and the Vorax. It felt so real." Nathan's worry deepened. The strain of their constant connection to the precursor technology was clearly taking its toll. He glanced at Elwyrana, who was watching them with a knowing look. As the facility buzzed with preparations for the first terraforming experiment, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the precipice of something monumental. The success of their mission could reshape the future of multiple species, but at what cost to himself and Kira? His musings were cut short by a sudden commotion. The facility's long-range sensors had detected a large fleet of unknown ships approaching the solar system. The energy signatures matched neither the Vorax nor any known allied species. As alarms blared and the facility shifted into high alert, Nathan realized that the challenges they faced were far from finished. With Kira at his side and Elwyrana's ancient wisdom to guide them, they would need to harness every ounce of their enhanced abilities to face this new threat and secure a peaceful future for all, the Alliance and their newfound allies. As Nathan contemplated the challenges ahead, the facility's alarms blared to life, their urgent wail echoing through the chambers. "Incoming transmission from long-range sensors," announced a voice over the intercom. "Unknown fleet detected approaching the solar system." The chamber erupted into a flurry of activity. Ambassador Zorax immediately called for an emergency meeting, while Krostor began coordinating with Vorax defense forces. Nathan and Kira exchanged a determined look before rushing to the command center, Elwyrana close behind. As they entered the bustling control room, a holographic display flickered to life, showing the approaching fleet's trajectory. Nathan's enhanced vision allowed him to discern details that others missed, noting the unusual configuration of the ships. "We need to accelerate our efforts," Kira said, her voice tinged with urgency. "The terraforming technology might be our best defense." Without hesitation, they descended into the underground complex, Elwyrana guiding them to a previously unexplored section. The trio spent hours interfacing with the ancient systems, their bodies adapting and changing as they delved deeper into the precursor technology. Nathan noticed the changes first in Kira. Her movements became more fluid, almost ethereal, as her skin developed a subtle luminescence. He caught his reflection in a polished surface and saw that his own appearance had altered. His skin now bore a metallic sheen, and his eyes emitted a faint glow in the dimly lit chamber. As days passed, their transformations intensified. Kira's hair took on an iridescent quality, shimmering with colors that seemed to shift with her emotions. Intricate, bioluminescent patterns appeared on her skin, pulsing in sync with her heartbeat. Nathan's own changes progressed, his senses sharpening to superhuman levels. While they worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the terraforming process, Ambassador Zorax coordinated the expansion of Mars' defensive capabilities. The Alliance pooled their resources, constructing a network of advanced sensor arrays and weapons platforms around the planet. Nathan and Kira's expertise proved invaluable as they integrated precursor technology into the new defenses. Their enhanced abilities allowed them to interface directly with the systems, optimizing them beyond anything the Alliance had previously achieved. As the defensive preparations continued, the team initiated their first large-scale terraforming experiment on the Martian surface. The results exceeded all expectations. Within hours, the transformed area began to expand at an exponential rate. Breathable atmosphere formed, and primitive vegetation sprouted from the once barren soil. "Incredible," breathed Dr. Reeves, monitoring the changes from the control room. "At this rate, we'll have a habitable environment in days, not years." The rapid transformation of Mars didn't go unnoticed. The approaching fleet altered its course, accelerating towards the solar system. Tension mounted as the Alliance realized the gravity of the situation. Elwyrana, her expression grave, approached Nathan and Kira as they took a rare moment of rest. "There's something you need to know," she said, her melodious voice tinged with concern. "There's a hidden progenitor outpost on one of Jupiter's moons. It contains defensive technology that could be crucial in repelling this unknown threat." Nathan straightened, his fatigue forgotten. "We need to go there immediately." A small team was quickly assembled for the Jupiter mission. Nathan, Kira, and Elwyrana were joined by a select group of specialists from various Alliance species. They boarded a ship specially modified with precursor-enhanced propulsion systems, allowing for rapid interplanetary travel. As they journeyed towards Jupiter, Nathan couldn't help but notice the growing bond between Kira and Elwyrana. Their shared hybrid nature seemed to create a connection that he struggled to understand, and a twinge of jealousy flickered in his chest. Upon reaching Jupiter's moon, they discovered the progenitor outpost hidden beneath the icy surface. Nathan and Kira used their enhanced abilities to interface with the outpost systems, reactivating long-dormant technology. As they explored the facility, they came upon a massive hangar filled with deactivated progenitor defense drones. While Nathan focused on reactivating the drones, Kira and Elwyrana made a startling discovery in the outpost database. The approaching fleet belonged to a species known as the Harvesters, a nomadic race that exploited resource-rich worlds. These were the same beings responsible for the ancient conflict that led to the divergence of the Precursors and the Vorics. As they prepared to return to Mars with the reactivated drones, an urgent communication came through from the facility. The Harvester fleet had entered the solar system and was rapidly approaching Mars. Their ships were far more numerous and advanced than initially estimated. Nathan made the difficult decision to remain at the Jupiter outpost with a small team to continue reactivating more progenitor defenses. Kira and Elwyrana would return to Mars with the initial wave of drones to bolster the planet's defenses. As Kira's ship departed, Nathan watched from the outpost control center, his enhanced vision allowing him to track the vessel long after it disappeared from normal sight. He turned his attention to the task at hand, interfacing with the outpost systems to bring more ancient defenses online. The weight of separation pressed heavily on Nathan as he worked tirelessly to prepare for the coming conflict. He pushed aside his concerns for Kira's safety and the future of their relationship, focusing instead on the monumental task before him. The fate of the solar system hung in the balance, and every second counted. In the vast expanse of space between Jupiter and Mars, Kira's ship raced against time, carrying with it the hopes of the Alliance and the power of long-forgotten progenitor technology. The Harvester fleet loomed ever closer to Mars, their intentions clear and their power formidable. As Nathan activated another cluster of defense drones, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a conflict that would reshape the future of multiple species. The true test of their newfound abilities and the strength of the Alliance was yet to come. As Nathan activated another cluster of defense drones, a transmission from Mars cut through the background hum of the Jupiter outpost. Kira's face appeared on the screen, her features illuminated by the soft glow emanating from her skin. "We've arrived with the initial wave of progenitor drones," she reported, her voice tinged with urgency. The situation here is critical. The Harvester fleet is approaching faster than we anticipated. Nathan's enhanced vision caught the subtle changes in Kira's appearance. The iridescent sheen of her hair, the intricate patterns pulsing on her skin. He pushed aside a twinge of concern, focusing on the task at hand. Understood. I'm making progress here, but there's still more to activate. How are things on Mars? Kira's eyes flashed with dedication. The facility is in overdrive. I'm integrating the progenitor drones into our defense network. It's incredible, Nathan. My abilities allow me to interface with both alien and human technologies seamlessly. As Kira spoke, the background behind her bustled with activity. Alliance members rushed back and forth, preparing for the impending invasion. Ambassador Zorax could be seen in deep discussion with a group of military leaders, their expressions grave. The terraforming is accelerating beyond our initial projections, Kira continued. Nearly half the planet's surface is transformed. It's beautiful, but it's also attracting attention. A portion of the Harvester fleet has broken off, heading straight for Mars. Nathan's muscles tensed. They're after the new resources. Kira nodded. Ambassador Zorax has called an emergency meeting. I have an idea that might give us an edge, but it's risky. I need to go. As the transmission ended, Nathan turned back to the outpost systems, his mind racing. He interfaced with the ancient technology, his consciousness expanding as he delved deeper into the progenitor systems. Hours passed in a blur of data and activation sequences. Nathan's body began to change more rapidly, his skin taking on a metallic sheen that pulsed with energy. He barely noticed, his focus entirely on bringing more defenses online. A sudden alert snapped him back to awareness. Long-range sensors detected energy signatures consistent with weapons fired near Mars. The battle had begun. Nathan's enhanced hearing picked up chatter from the communication channels. The progenitor drones were proving effective against the Harvester ships, but the sheer number of enemy vessels threatened to overwhelm the defenders. Then, a massive surge of energy erupted from the Martian surface. Nathan's connection to the progenitor technology allowed him to sense the familiar signature of the terraforming technology, but it was different, weaponized. Through the outpost sensors, Nathan watched in awe as swirling vortexes of distorted space-time engulfed the Harvester ships. Vessels twisted and broke apart, caught in the grip of altered physics. Pride swelled in Nathan's chest. This had to be Kira's work. Her brilliant mind adapting the ancient technology in ways even the progenitors might not have imagined. But the respite was short-lived. The remaining Harvester ships quickly adapted, using their damaged comrades as shields against the spatial distortions. The battle intensified, with both sides taking heavy losses. Nathan redoubled his efforts, pushing his enhanced body to its limits. His skin now emitted a soft glow, and he found his thoughts becoming increasingly intertwined with the outpost systems. As he worked, he made a startling discovery, a massive energy cannon hidden beneath the moon's surface. Without hesitation, Nathan began the activation sequence, interfacing directly with the weapon's controls. Power surged through the outpost as the cannon charged. Nathan's consciousness expanded, connecting with a vast array of sensors throughout the solar system. He could sense the main body of the Harvester fleet, still approaching from the outer reaches. With pinpoint precision, Nathan targeted the heart of the enemy armada and fired. A blinding beam of energy lanced out from Jupiter's moon, crossing the vast expanse of space in seconds. It struck the Harvester fleet with devastating effect, vaporizing dozens of ships and scattering the rest. Through his connection to the progenitor technology, Nathan sensed a surge of power from Mars. He knew instinctively that Kira had felt the activation of the Jupiter cannon and was pushing herself to new limits in response. As Nathan prepared for another shot, he became aware of a new complication. The terraforming energy amplified by the battle had begun to affect Venus. The harsh planet showed signs of rapid environmental changes, presenting both opportunity and danger. With the solar system in chaos, Nathan stood at the heart of the Jupiter outpost, his consciousness now deeply entwined with the progenitor systems. He aimed the cannon once more, ready to unleash another devastating attack on the regrouping harvester fleet. The fate of Mars, Earth, and now Venus hung in the balance. As Nathan fired the cannon, he knew that the next few hours would determine the future of not just humanity, but all the species caught in this interstellar conflict. The energy beam from Jupiter's moon dissipated, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Nathan's consciousness, now deeply intertwined with the progenitor systems, expanded across the solar system. He sensed the chaos unfolding on Mars and the sudden shift in the harvester fleet's formation. As he prepared to fire the cannon again, a surge of power coursed through his body. Nathan gasped, his form shimmering with an otherworldly glow. His skin became translucent, pulsing with energy that matched the rhythm of the outpost systems. "I need more," Nathan whispered, his voice resonating with an ethereal quality. Without hesitation, he initiated a risky procedure to fully integrate his consciousness with the progenitor defense systems. The outpost hummed with increased activity as Nathan's mind merged with the ancient technology. His physical body began to fade, becoming more energy than matter. Through this heightened connection, he gained unprecedented control over the outpost's weapons and defenses. On Mars, Kira stood at the heart of the terraforming control center, her body radiating an intense, pulsating light. She manipulated the swirling energies around her with graceful movements, creating localized gravitational anomalies that trapped approaching harvester ships. "Kira, look!" Dr. Reeves called out, pointing to a holographic display of the solar system. Kira's eyes widened as she observed the dramatic changes occurring on Venus. The planet's thick cloud cover was dissipating rapidly, revealing glimpses of a transforming landscape below. "The terraforming effect," she breathed. "It's spreading to Venus." Ambassador Zorax strode into the control center, his tentacles twitching with excitement. "This is an unexpected development, but one we can use to our advantage. The harvesters are splitting their forces to investigate Venus." Kira nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "We can use this distraction to launch a counteroffensive." Zorax's eyes gleamed. "Precisely. I'm ordering a deployment of our mixed fleet to engage the harvester forces near Venus. We'll strike while they're divided." As the Alliance prepared for their counterattack, Elwirana approached Kira, her expression grave. "Kira, there's something urgent we need to discuss." Kira turned to face her fellow hybrid, noting the concern in Elwirana's eyes. "What is it?" "Your transformation and Nathan's. They're progressing too rapidly," Elwirana explained. "There's a failsafe within your hybrid physiology. If the process continues unchecked, you risk losing your physical forms entirely." Kira's glow flickered with shock. "What do you mean?" "You could become pure energy beings disconnected from your human origins," Elwirana said softly. "But there might be a way to prevent it. The progenitor outpost on Jupiter's moon contains a device capable of stabilizing your transformations." Kira's mind reeled with the implications. "But using it would require both Nathan and me to be there." Elwirana nodded solemnly. "Yes, you'd have to leave Mars and travel to Jupiter." Before Kira could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. A massive energy signature appeared on the long-range scanners. The Harvester flagship had entered the inner solar system. Dr. Reeves paled as he analyzed the incoming data. "It's carrying a weapon capable of reversing the terraforming process. If they fired at Mars..." Kira clenched her fists, energy crackling around her. She looked from the approaching flagship to Elwirana, torn between her duty to protect Mars and the need to stabilize her transformation. "Go," Zorax said, placing a tentacle on Kira's shoulder. "We'll hold the line here. If we lose you and Nathan, we lose our greatest advantage against the harvesters. With a heavy heart, Kira nodded. I'll take a high-speed shuttle equipped with progenitor tech. Elwirana, I'm entrusting the defense of Mars to you and the Alliance forces. As Kira boarded the shuttle, she watched the Harvester flagship growing larger on the interface, its weapon powering up. The shuttle launched, streaking away from Mars as the battle intensified behind her. In the Jupiter outpost, Nathan sensed Kira's approach. His energy form pulsed with anticipation as he directed the outpost defenses to clear a path for her shuttle. Harvester scout ships attempted to intercept, but Nathan's precise control of the progenitor weapon systems reduced them to space debris. Kira's shuttle landed in the outpost hangar with a soft thud. As she emerged, her glowing form illuminated the cavernous space. Nathan's energy-like presence filled the room, guiding her towards the stabilization chamber. Their reunion was brief but intense, their partially transformed bodies resonating with shared energy. Words were unnecessary as they communicated through pulses of light and waves of emotion. Together, they entered the stabilization chamber. Ancient machinery hummed to life around them, responding to their hybrid physiology. As they stepped into the center of the room, a field of shimmering energy enveloped them. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the outpost. Through their connection to the progenitor systems, Nathan and Kira sensed the Harvester flagship's attack on Mars. The terraforming reversal weapon had fired, its massive energy beam streaking towards the red planet's surface. As the stabilization field intensified around them, Nathan and Kira shared a look of commitment. Their bodies, once solid and human, now pulsed with otherworldly energy. The chamber filled with blinding light as the ancient progenitor technology worked to halt their uncontrolled transformation. Outside the outpost, the battles for Mars and Venus raged on. Alliance forces fought desperately against the overwhelming Harvester onslaught, their fate hanging in the balance. The solar system stood on the brink of either salvation or total destruction, with the outcome hinging on the success of Nathan and Kira's stabilization and their swift return to the conflict. As the stabilization process reached its peak, Nathan and Kira felt their consciousness expand, touching the very fabric of space-time. In that moment, they glimpsed the true nature of the progenitors and the power they wielded. The knowledge flooded their minds, offering new possibilities and dangers in equal measure. The light in the chamber grew to an unbearable intensity, obscuring Nathan and Kira from view. The fate of humanity, the Alliance, and the entire solar system hung in the balance as the ancient progenitor technology worked to stabilize the two hybrids, their transformation teetering on the edge of no return. The light in the chamber pulsed one final time, then slowly faded. As the glow subsided, Nathan and Kira's form solidified, their bodies regaining a more human-like appearance. The shimmering energy field that had enveloped them dissipated, leaving behind a faint residual warmth on their skin. Nathan blinked, his vision clearing as he looked down at his hands. The metallic sheen was gone, replaced by flesh that appeared mostly human, save for a subtle iridescence when it caught the light. He flexed his fingers, feeling strength coursing through them, but not the overwhelming power he had experienced before. Beside him, Kira stirred. Her once glowing form now settled into a similar state of hybrid stability. Her eyes, still bearing a hint of otherworldly luminescence, met Nathan's. "We're back," she whispered, her voice a mixture of relief and uncertainty. Nathan nodded, helping her to her feet. "Mostly, but I can still feel the connection to the progenitor systems. It's muted, but there." A sudden tremor shook the outpost, snapping them back to the reality of the ongoing battle. Without a word, they rushed to the control center, their movements fluid and purposeful despite their recent transformation. Nathan placed his hands on the main console, closing his eyes as he reestablished his link with the outpost systems. The connection felt different now, less overwhelming but more focused. He could sense the chaos unfolding across the solar system with crystal clarity. "Mars!" he gasped, his eyes flying open. "The Harvester flagship. It's unleashed its weapon. The terraforming is being reversed." Kira's face paled as she absorbed the information. She reached out, placing her hand next to Nathan's on the console. To their surprise, her touch amplified the connection, allowing them both to perceive the dire situation unfolding on the red planet. "We have to do something," Kira said, her voice filled with tenacity. "Can we use the Jupiter cannon again?" Nathan's fingers flew over the controls, his mind racing through calculations. "Yes, but not alone. The cannon alone won't be enough to counter their weapon. But if we combine it with your terraforming abilities..." Kira nodded, understanding immediately. A risky move, but it might be our only chance. They worked in tandem, Nathan priming the Jupiter cannon, while Kira prepared to channel her remaining terraforming energy into the beam. The outpost systems hummed ominously as power levels rose beyond their normal parameters. "This could overload the entire facility," Nathan warned, his hands hovering over the firing sequence. Kira met his gaze, her teeth clenched. "We don't have a choice. Mars won't survive if we don't act now." With a shared nod, they initiated the sequence. The outpost shuddered as the cannon powered up, drawing energy from every available source. Kira closed her eyes, focusing intensely as she poured her terraforming abilities into the gathering beam. A blinding streak of energy erupted from the moon's surface, lancing across the vast expanse of space. Nathan and Kira watched through the outpost sensors as the supercharged beam struck the Harvester flagship with devastating force. The impact was catastrophic. The flagship's hull buckled under the combined power of progenitor technology and Kira's abilities. Its terraforming reversal weapon sputtered and died, overwhelmed by the opposing energies. As the beam dissipated, leaving the flagship crippled and venting atmosphere, a new alert caught their attention. Nathan's eyes widened as he processed the incoming data. "Multiple contacts," he reported, his voice tense. "A new fleet just entered the system through some kind of wormhole. Their energy signatures. They're similar to the progenitor tech." Before they could react to this new development, a communication request flashed on the main screen. Nathan accepted it, revealing the face of a stern-looking female warrior. "I am Commander Zara of the Guardian Fleet," she announced, her piercing gaze seeming to look right through them. "We detected the activation of progenitor technology in this system. Identify yourselves immediately." Nathan and Kira exchanged a quick glance before Nathan responded. "I'm Nathan, and this is Kira. Well, it's complicated. We're human, but we've been altered by progenitor technology." Zara's eyes narrowed, studying them intently. "Impossible," she muttered, then seemed to reconsider. "Unless..." The prophecy was true. Before they could question her cryptic statement, another tremor shook the outpost. Warning lights flashed across the console. "The cannon firing sequence destabilized the core," Nathan reported, his fingers flying over the controls. "We need to evacuate immediately." Zara's expression hardened. "A Guardian shuttle is en route to your location. Prepare for immediate extraction. We have much to discuss." As the communication cut off, Nathan and Kira hurried to gather what data they could from the outpost systems. The floor beneath them groaned ominously, reminding them of the precious little time they had left. They made their way to the hangar just as a sleek, silver shuttle touched down. The hatch opened, revealing 2 Guardian soldiers in gleaming armor. Quickly, one of them called out, "This moon won't hold together much longer." Nathan and Kira boarded the shuttle, stealing one last glance at the progenitor outpost that had played such a crucial role in their transformation and the battle for the solar system. As the shuttle lifted off, the Jupiter moon's surface began to crack and splinter. Through the shuttle's view screen, they watched the ongoing battle around Mars. The Guardian fleet engaged the remaining Harvester ships with devastating efficiency, their advanced weaponry quickly turning the tide of the conflict. "The Harvesters are retreating," Kira observed, a mix of relief and wariness in her voice. Nathan nodded, his mind already racing ahead to the challenges that awaited them. "But this is a long way to go. We still don't know who these Guardians really are, or what this prophecy Zara mentioned means." As the shuttle accelerated towards Mars, Nathan and Kira sat in contemplative silence. Their bodies, still adjusting to their stabilized hybrid forms, tingled with residual energy. They had survived one crisis, but they both sensed that their journey and the true test of their newfound abilities was only just beginning. The red planet grew larger in the view screen, its surface a patchwork of terraformed areas, barren wastelands, and chaotic, evolving landscapes. Nathan reached out, taking Kira's hand in his own. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The red planet grew larger in the view screen, its surface a patchwork of terraformed areas, barren wastelands, and chaotic, evolving landscapes. Nathan reached out, taking Kira's hand in his own. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As the Guardian shuttle touched down on the Martian surface, Nathan and Kira felt a surge of anticipation. The hatch opened, revealing a world in turmoil. They stepped out onto the rust-colored soil, their enhanced senses immediately bombarded by the aftermath of the recent battle. Ambassador Zorax approached them, his tentacles undulating with urgency. "Nathan, Kira, Commander Zara," he greeted them, his voice strained. "We need your assistance immediately. The Harvester weapon has left our terraforming efforts in shambles." Zorax led them to a makeshift command center, where holographic displays showed the extent of the damage. Nathan's eyes darted from one readout to another, his mind processing the information at an accelerated rate. "These energy fields," Kira observed, pointing to swirling vortexes of unstable matter on the displays. "They're the remnants of the Harvester weapon, aren't they?" Zorax nodded grimly. "Yes, and they're continuing to destabilize our terraformed areas. Our scientists are at a loss." Nathan closed his eyes, reaching out with his newfound abilities. He could sense the chaotic energy patterns, their discord grating against his enhanced perception. "Kira," he said, opening his eyes, "I think we can neutralize these fields, but it won't be easy." Over the next few hours, Nathan and Kira worked tirelessly with the Alliance scientists, developing a method to counter the residual energy fields. They moved from one affected area to another, using their hybrid abilities to manipulate the unstable energies. In one particularly volatile region, Kira stretched out her hands, her fingers trembling as she channeled her power into a swirling vortex of destructive energy. Nathan stood beside her, his own abilities amplifying and focusing her efforts. The air crackled with energy as the vortex slowly began to shrink and stabilize. "It's working," one of the scientists exclaimed, monitoring the readings on a portable device. But as the energy field collapsed, Kira stumbled, her skin briefly shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Nathan caught her, concern etched on his face. "I'm fine," she assured him, though her voice was weak. "It's just more draining than I expected." As they continued their efforts across the Martian landscape, Commander Zara coordinated with her Guardian fleet, establishing a defensive perimeter around Mars and Venus. The sleek Guardian ships patrolled the space between the planets, their advanced sensors scanning for any sign of Harvester activity. On Venus, the situation was equally chaotic, but in a different way. Alliance survey teams reported back with astonishing findings. Vast oceans were forming where there had once been only toxic atmosphere. Primitive plant life was emerging from the once barren soil, and in some regions, the air was becoming breathable. Back on Mars, Elwyrana approached Nathan and Kira as they took a brief respite from their stabilization efforts. "Your work is impressive," she said, her eyes gleaming with an idea. "But we need a more permanent solution. I believe we can integrate progenitor technology with our existing terraforming equipment. Nathan raised an eyebrow. That's ambitious, Alarana. The risks of further exposure to progenitor tech are considerable, Kira finished for him. But it might be our best chance at creating a self-sustaining system. As they began work on this new project, an urgent message arrived from Earth. Ambassador Zorax's face grew grave as he relayed the news. The governments of Earth are demanding explanations and immediate access to our advanced technologies, he said, his tentacles writhing with agitation. Commander Zara, who had been overseeing the defensive operations, stepped forward. Perhaps it's time we consider a more unified approach, she suggested. A solar system council with representatives from all involved species, including the Guardians. As discussions about the proposed council began, Nathan and Kira returned to their work on integrating the progenitor technology. As they delved deeper into the ancient systems, they made a startling discovery. "Nathan, look at this," Kira called out, her eyes wide as she stared at a holographic display. "These energy signatures. They're coming from deep within Mars itself." Nathan studied the readouts, his mind racing. "It's as if our efforts have awakened something," he muttered. "Some kind of dormant progenitor system built into the planet's core." As they watched, the ancient systems began to interface with Mars's core, promising a more comprehensive transformation of the planet. But alarm klaxons suddenly blared, and new data flooded their screens. "The energy drain," Nathan gasped. "It's affecting Mars's orbital stability." Kira's hands flew over the controls, her movements becoming more fluid and instinctive. Nathan watched in awe as she manipulated the Martian environment with increasing skill, her hybrid abilities evolving before his eyes. "We need to find a balance," Kira said, her voice filled with perseverance, "between the transformation and the planet's orbital mechanics. Otherwise, we risk catastrophic consequences for the entire inner solar system," Nathan finished. As they grappled with this new challenge, a communication alert caught their attention. Ambassador Zorax's voice came through, tense and urgent. "Nathan, Kira, we have an incoming Earth delegation, led by General Marcus Blackwood. They'll be landing within the hour." Nathan and Kira shared a look of apprehension. The task of explaining recent events and their own transformation to their fellow humans loomed before them. As they prepared to meet the Earth delegation, the fate of humanity's role in the wider galactic community hung in the balance, adding yet another layer of complexity to their already daunting mission. As Nathan and Kira prepared for the arrival of the Earth delegation, the Martian landscape continued to shift and evolve around them. The red planet's surface was a canvas of transformation, with newly stabilized areas contrasting sharply against the still volatile regions affected by the Harvester weapon. The low hum of engines announced the approach of General Marcus Blackwood's ship. Nathan took a deep breath, squeezing Kira's hand for reassurance. They both knew that this meeting could determine the future of human involvement in the Alliance and the broader galactic community. As the ship touched down, kicking up a cloud of rust-colored dust, Nathan and Kira stood alongside Ambassador Zorax and the other Alliance leaders. The ship's hatch opened with a hiss, revealing General Blackwood, a stern-faced man in his 50s with graying hair and a crisp military uniform. He was accompanied by a small group of Earth officials and scientists, their expressions a mix of awe and apprehension as they took in the alien landscape. Blackwood's eyes immediately locked onto Nathan and Kira, widening slightly at their hybrid appearance. The couple's skin shimmered faintly in the Martian sunlight, their features a harmonious blend of human and alien characteristics. "Welcome to Mars, General Blackwood," Ambassador Zorax greeted, his tentacles undulating in a gesture of respect. "We appreciate Earth's willingness to engage in dialogue during these extraordinary times." Blackwood nodded curtly, his gaze still fixed on Nathan and Kira. "Thank you, Ambassador. I must say, the reports we received hardly prepared us for this." He gestured vaguely at the transformed landscape and the alien delegation. Nathan stepped forward, extending his hand. "General Blackwood, I'm Nathan, and this is Kira. We understand you have concerns, and we're here to address them." Blackwood hesitated for a moment before shaking Nathan's hand, his eyes narrowing as he studied the hybrid's features. "Yes, we have many questions, starting with what exactly has happened to you two." As they moved to the makeshift command center, Ambassador Zorax began explaining the recent events, from the Harvester attack to the discovery of the progenitor technology. General Blackwood listened intently, his brow furrowing as he processed the information. "This is all well and good," Blackwood interrupted, his voice sharp, "but Earth demands immediate access to these advanced technologies. We can't sit idly by while our solar system is transformed without our input." Tension filled the room as Alliance members exchanged worried glances. Nathan could sense the situation spiraling towards conflict and made a quick decision. "General," he said, stepping forward, "perhaps a practical demonstration would help ease your concerns. If you're willing, we'd like to show you firsthand what we're dealing with." Blackwood considered for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. Show me." Nathan and Kira led a small group, including Blackwood and a fewer scientists, to one of the unstable areas near the command center. The ground beneath their feet trembled ominously, and the air shimmered with residual energy from the Harvester weapon. "What you're seeing is the aftermath of the Harvester attack," Kira explained, her voice calm despite the dangerous environment. "These energy fields are continuing to destabilize the planet." Without further explanation, Nathan and Kira stepped forward, their hands outstretched. The air around them began to crackle with energy as they tapped into their hybrid abilities. Blackwood and the Earth delegation watched in astonishment as the chaotic energy fields before them started to coalesce and stabilize. Nathan felt a familiar strain as he channeled his power, his skin glowing faintly with the effort. Beside him, Kira moved with fluid grace, her connection to the Martian environment growing stronger with each passing moment. As the last of the unstable energy dissipated, leaving behind a patch of calm, rust-colored soil, Nathan turned to face the Earth delegation. General Blackwood's expression had shifted from skepticism to one of cautious wonder. "Impressive," Blackwood admitted, his voice gruff but tinged with a new respect. "I can see now why this situation requires a unique approach." The demonstration marked a turning point in the negotiations. Over the next few hours, Blackwood's demeanor softened as he engaged in more collaborative discussions with the Alliance leaders. He proposed sending Earth scientists and engineers to join the teams already working on Mars and Venus, a suggestion that was met with enthusiasm from both sides. As tensions eased, the formation of the Solar System Council moved forward. Representatives from Earth, including General Blackwood, were invited to join alongside members from other species and the Guardians. The Council's first official meeting was scheduled to take place in a newly constructed chamber within the Mars facility, designed to accommodate the diverse physiological needs of all attendees. Nathan and Kira found themselves at the center of these historic events, their unique abilities and experiences making them valuable assets to the Alliance. As they prepared for the council meeting, Nathan couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. "We've come so far," he said to Kira as they walked through the corridors of the Mars facility. "But I can't shake the feeling that this is just the beginning." Kira nodded, her eyes reflecting the complex emotions they both felt. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it together," she replied, her hand finding his. As they entered the council chamber, they were struck by the diversity of the gathered representatives. Humans sat alongside various alien species, including the tentacled Zorax, the crystalline beings from Venus, and the imposing forms of the Guardian warriors. At the center of the chamber stood a holographic display, currently showing a detailed map of the solar system. Commander Zara stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. "Esteemed members of the Solar System Council," she began, her voice carrying across the chamber, We gather here today to address the unprecedented challenges and opportunities before us. As Zara launched into her comprehensive report on the harvester threat, Nathan and Kira exchanged a glance. They knew that their journey was not nearly finished, and that the decisions made in this chamber would shape the future of not just Earth, but the entire solar system. Would shape the future of not just Earth, but the entire solar system. As the council meeting progressed, Nathan found his thoughts drifting to the progenitor facility beneath the Martian surface. The allure of its ancient secrets called to him, and he could sense Kira's growing eagerness to return to their exploration. In the days that followed, Nathan and Kira led a team of researchers deep into the subterranean maze of the progenitor facility. The air grew thick with anticipation as they ventured further than ever before, their hybrid abilities allowing them to navigate the complex more effectively than their fully human counterparts. Suddenly, a surge of energy pulsed through the facility, causing the team's communication devices to crackle and fail. Nathan instinctively reached out with his heightened senses, feeling the ebb and flow of the alien technology around them. "The planetary control system," he muttered, his eyes widening. "It's becoming more active." Kira nodded, her own connection to the Martian environment growing stronger by the moment. "We need to adapt our approach," she said, turning to the rest of the team. "From now on, Nathan and I will take point. The rest of you, stay close and follow our lead." As they pressed deeper into the facility, the walls seemed to come alive with pulsating energy. Nathan and Kira moved in perfect synchronization, their hybrid physiology allowing them to interpret and respond to the facility's reactions. After hours of careful navigation, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber. As they entered, lights flickered to life, revealing a room filled with sleek, alien equipment. "It's some kind of medical bay," Nathan breathed, taking in the advanced technology surrounding them. Before they could investigate further, the equipment hummed to life. A beam of light swept over Nathan and Kira, scanning their bodies from head to toe. The team watched in awe as holographic displays materialized, showing detailed readouts of the hybrid's physiology. Kira gasped, her eyes fixed on the display. "Nathan, look at this," she said, her voice a mix of excitement and concern. "My body. It's changing even more than we thought." Nathan studied the readouts, his brow furrowing. The data showed Kira's physiology adapting rapidly to the Martian environment, her cellular structure shifting to become more compatible with the planet's atmosphere and gravity. "We need to get you checked out by the medical team," Nathan insisted, worry creeping into his voice. "We don't know what these changes might mean in the long run." Back at the main facility, Dr. Elena Rossi, the Alliance's chief medical officer, conducted a thorough examination of Kira. As she reviewed the results, her expression grew increasingly perplexed. "Your adaptation to the Martian environment is progressing at an unprecedented rate," Dr. Rossi explained, gesturing to a series of holographic charts. "Your lungs are becoming more efficient at processing the thin Martian atmosphere, and your muscle density is increasing to compensate for the lower gravity." Kira absorbed the information, a mix of fascination and apprehension washing over her. "What does this mean for my future on Earth?" she asked, voicing the question that had been nagging at her since the discovery. Dr. Rossi shook her head. "It's too early to say for certain. We'll need to monitor your condition closely and run more tests." As Kira underwent further examinations, Nathan found himself pulled into an emergency meeting of the Solar System Council. Ambassador Zorax's face was grim as he addressed the assembled representatives. "We received reports of growing unrest on Earth," Zorax announced, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "Several nations and corporations are demanding immediate access to Venus for colonization. They see the planet's transformation as an opportunity for expansion and resource acquisition." General Blackwood leaned forward, his expression stern. "We can't allow this situation to destabilize our alliance. Earth's interests must be considered, but we need a unified approach." Ambassador Zorax nodded, his eyes gleaming with a spark of inspiration. Perhaps we can turn this challenge into an opportunity for cooperation. I propose a joint colonization program for Venus, involving representatives from all allied species. The council chamber erupted in a flurry of discussion. After hours of debate, a consensus began to form. General Blackwood, seeing a chance to secure Earth's role in the venture, threw his support behind the proposal. "I agree to support this joint program," Blackwood announced, "on the condition that humans play a significant role in the colonization efforts." As the council worked to hammer out the details of the Venus colonization program, Nathan and Kira found themselves thrust into the center of the preparations. Their expertise with progenitor technology made them invaluable assets in adapting the alien terraforming systems for use on Venus. Weeks passed in a blur of activity. Nathan split his time between the Mars facility and the fledgling Venus project, while Kira immersed herself in the study of the Martian planetary control system. The demands of their work began to strain their relationship, with Nathan growing increasingly concerned about the amount of time Kira spent interfacing with alien technology. Their already complicated situation took another turn with the arrival of a team of Guardian scientists, led by a striking alien named Lyra. Her iridescent skin and piercing silver eyes immediately caught Kira's attention, and the two quickly formed a close working relationship. Nathan watched from the sidelines, a knot of jealousy forming in his stomach as Kira and Lyra huddled over holographic displays, discussing complex theories about the planetary control system. He tried to push the feeling aside, focusing instead on his own work, but the nagging worry about Kira's evolving physiology and her growing connection to the alien technology persisted. As Nathan prepared for another trip to oversee the integration of progenitor technology into the newly authorized Jupiter defense platform, he couldn't shake the feeling that his relationship with Kira was being tested in ways he never anticipated. The solar system was on the brink of a new era of exploration and colonization, but Nathan found himself wondering about the personal cost of their incredible journey. With a heavy heart, he boarded the shuttle bound for Jupiter, leaving Kira behind to continue her work with Lyra and the Guardian research team. As the red planet receded from view, Nathan's thoughts turned to the challenges that lay ahead, both for the Alliance and for his relationship with Kira. Nathan's shuttle docked at the Jupiter defense platform, the massive structure looming against the backdrop of the gas giant's swirling storms. As he disembarked, his mind still lingered on Mars and Kira. The distance between them felt more than just physical. He was greeted by Dr. Amelia Chun, the lead scientist overseeing the integration of progenitor technology into the platform systems. "Welcome back, Nathan," she said, her eyes betraying a hint of concern. "We've made progress, but there's something you need to see." As they walked through the station's corridors, alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed, and crew members rushed to their stations. Nathan and Dr. Chen sprinted to the command center, where a holographic display showed a swirling vortex at the edge of the solar system. "It's a wormhole," Dr. Chen explained, her voice tight. "And something's coming through." Nathan watched in disbelief as a small fleet of ships emerged from the anomaly. Their design was unmistakable. Harvesters. "Alert the Solar System Council immediately," Nathan ordered. "We need to prepare for possible hostilities." But as the ships approached, they made no aggressive moves. Instead, they transmitted a message requesting asylum. The leader of the group identified himself as Zexlor, claiming to be part of a splinter faction seeking refuge from their own civilization. Nathan's communicator buzzed with an incoming transmission from Mars. General Blackwood's holographic image appeared, his expression grim. "We've received the transmission," Blackwood said. "I'm calling an emergency council meeting. We need you back on Mars, ASAP." Within hours, Nathan found himself back in the council chamber on Mars. The atmosphere was tense as representatives from various species debated the unprecedented situation. General Blackwood's voice cut through the din. "I propose we hold these harvester defectors in a secure facility on Phobos until we can verify their intentions." Ambassador Zorax nodded in agreement, his tentacles writhing. "A wise precaution. We cannot risk compromising our defenses." As the council hammered out the details, Nathan's thoughts drifted to Kira. He hadn't seen her since his return, and the ache of their growing distance gnawed at him. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Nathan found himself shuttling between Mars, Jupiter, and now Phobos, overseeing the conversion of an existing outpost into a containment facility for the harvester defectors. The additional responsibility greatly troubled on him, further straining his already tenuous connection with Kira. During a rare moment of downtime on Phobos, Nathan decided to dig deeper into the defectors' background. He accessed the facility's communication logs, his hybrid abilities allowing him to sift through the data at an inhuman speed. Something caught his attention, a series of encrypted transmissions between Zexlor and an unknown external source. Nathan's heart raced as he began to decode the messages, revealing hints of hidden motives and potential sabotage. Before he could investigate further, an urgent alert from Mars interrupted his work. The message was brief but alarming. A crisis involving the planetary control system required immediate attention. Nathan rushed back to Mars, his mind racing with possibilities. As his shuttle descended through the Martian atmosphere, he could see signs of geological instability, plumes of dust rising from fissures in the planet's surface. He sprinted through the facility, finally reaching the control room where Kira and Lyra were working frantically to stabilize the system. The air crackled with energy as Kira interfaced directly with the alien technology, her body glowing with an otherworldly light. "What happened?" Nathan demanded, looking from Kira to Lyra. Lyra's silver eyes met his, filled with a mix of excitement and concern. "We successfully activated an advanced terraforming feature, but it's causing unexpected instabilities on both Mars and Venus." Nathan watched in awe as Kira entered a trance-like state, her evolved physiology allowing her to connect with the planetary control system on a level he could barely comprehend. The room hummed with power as she worked to stabilize Mars' core. Minutes stretched into hours as Kira fought to save the planet. Finally, the tremor subsided, and the readouts on the holographic displays returned to normal. Kira collapsed, her body drained from the immense effort. Nathan rushed to her side, cradling her in his arms. "Kira, are you all right?" Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused and distant. "Nathan? I did it. Mars is safe." As medical personnel arrived to tend to Kira, Nathan found himself face to face with Lyra. The Guardian scientist's proximity to Kira during the crisis stirred a complex mix of emotions in him: gratitude, jealousy, and a gnawing sense of being an outsider. "Thank you for being here for her," Nathan said, his voice tight. Lyra nodded, her expression unreadable. "Kira is remarkable. Her connection to this technology, to this planet. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." As Kira was taken to the medical bay for treatment and observation, Nathan's communicator buzzed with an incoming message. It was from the Jupiter Defense Platform, marked as urgent. He opened the transmission, and his blood ran cold as he read the contents. The long-range sensors had detected a massive energy signature approaching the solar system, far larger than anything they had encountered before. Nathan looked up from the message, his gaze meeting Lyra's. The weight of their new reality settled over them like a shroud. The harvester fleet was coming, and they were woefully unprepared. As alarms began to sound throughout the facility, Nathan steeled himself for the challenges ahead. He knew he needed to address the growing rift between himself and Kira, confront the suspicious activities of the harvester defectors, and somehow prepare the Alliance for the looming invasion. The solar system stood on the brink of chaos, and Nathan found himself at the center of it all, trying to hold together the fragile threads of their future. Nathan's mind raced as he processed the urgent message from the Jupiter defense platform. The approaching Harvester fleet loomed like a dark specter over the solar system, threatening to unravel everything they had worked so hard to build. He looked at Kira, still recovering from her intense connection with the planetary control system, and made a decision. "I need to stay here," he said, his voice firm but tinged with concern. "We can't afford to be separated, not with what's coming." He quickly sent a message to General Blackwood, requesting reassignment to Mars. The response came swiftly, granting his request with the understanding that his expertise would be crucial in the coming days. As Kira regained her strength, Nathan immersed himself in the work alongside her and Lyra. The control room buzzed with activity as they pored over holographic displays, seeking to unlock the full potential of the progenitor technology. Days blurred together in a frenzy of research and experimentation. Nathan pushed aside his lingering jealousy, recognizing the importance of their collaboration. His knowledge of Harvester technology, gleaned from his time on Phobos, proved invaluable as they worked to integrate defensive capabilities into the planetary control system. On the 5th day of their relentless efforts, Lyra's silver eyes widened with excitement. "Look at this," she said, gesturing to a complex array of energy patterns on her display. "If we reconfigure the planetary control system's output, we could create a solar system-wide defense network." Kira leaned in, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's possible, but the energy requirements would be astronomical. We'd need a direct interface with the system to manage it." Nathan's gaze fell on Kira, understanding the implication. "You mean you'd have to connect directly to the system again, don't you?" Kira nodded, her expression a mix of tenacity and apprehension. "It's the only way. My physiology is the most compatible with the progenitor technology." As they prepared for the activation of the defense network, reports flooded in from across the solar system. On Venus, massive storms racked the surface, threatening the fledgling colonies. Emergency teams scrambled to evacuate personnel and shore up defenses against the planet's volatile atmosphere. On Phobos, tension mounted as Zexlor and the other Harvester defectors grew increasingly agitated. General Blackwood's hologram appeared in the control room, his face etched with lines of stress. "We're allowing a small group of Harvester scientists to assist with countermeasures," he reported. "But I don't trust them. Keep your guard up." The day of activation arrived. Nathan stood with Kira before the entrance to the interface chamber, a sleek pod pulsing with ethereal energy. "I'll be right here," Nathan said, clasping Kira's hand. "If anything goes wrong, I'll pull you out." Kira squeezed his hand, then stepped into the chamber. As the door sealed shut, Nathan watched through the observation window as Kira's body began to glow with an otherworldly light. The facility hummed with power as the defense network slowly came online. Holographic displays throughout the control room showed the progress, a shimmering field gradually encompassing the inner solar system. Suddenly, alarms blared. Lyra's fingers flew across her console. "Harvester fleet detected. They're entering the outer solar system." Nathan watched in horror as Kira's body began to flicker and distort within the chamber. Without hesitation, he override the safety protocols and burst inside. "Nathan, what are you doing?" Lyra's voice crackled over the intercom. "Helping." Nathan grunted as he placed his hands on the interface controls. His hybrid physiology reacted instantly, connecting him to the vast network. In a rush of sensation, Nathan's consciousness merged with Kira's within the progenitor system. Together, they became aware of the entire solar system, feeling the approach of the Harvester fleet like a cold shadow across their shared mind. With their combined strength, they stabilized the defense network. A powerful energy field solidified around the inner planets, just as the first wave of Harvester ships attempted to breach the system. Through their expanded awareness, Nathan and Kira witnessed a clash of fleets. Alliance ships engaged the Harvesters in a furious battle, weapons fire illuminating the void of space. On Phobos, Zexlor and the other defectors provided crucial information about Harvester weaknesses. Alliance fighters used this intelligence to target vulnerable points on the enemy's ships, turning the tide of several engagements. As the battle raged, Nathan and Kira remained locked in their shared interface. They fine-tuned the defense network, adapting it to counter Harvester attack patterns. But the strain of maintaining the connection took its toll. Nathan felt his body changing, his very essence intertwining with the alien technology. In the control room, Lyra monitored their life signs with growing concern. "Their physiological readings are off the charts," she reported to General Blackwood. "I'm not sure how long they can maintain this connection." The Harvester fleet pressed its attack, probing for weaknesses in the defense field. Nathan and Kira pushed themselves to the limit, their merged consciousness becoming the shield that stood between Earth and annihilation. As the battle reached its peak, Nathan became aware of a new presence within the progenitor system. A vast, ancient intelligence stirred, awakened by their unprecedented connection to the technology. In that moment, he realized that the fate of the solar system might hinge on more than just their mastery of alien defenses. It could depend on their ability to unlock the deepest secrets of the progenitors. Themselves, the ancient intelligence within the progenitor system surged through Nathan and Kira's merged consciousness, overwhelming their senses with a torrent of information. As they grappled with this newfound awareness, the battle for the solar system raged on around them. Through their expanded perception, Nathan and Kira observed the Alliance fleet engaging the Harvesters in a fierce dogfight. Beams of energy crisscrossed the void, punctuated by brilliant explosions as ships on both sides fell to enemy fire. The defense network pulsed with power, its protective field shimmering as it absorbed the brunt of the Harvester assault. Within the interface chamber, Nathan and Kira's bodies convulsed, their forms flickering between solid and ethereal states. Lyra watched in horror through the observation window, her silver eyes wide with concern. "Their vitals are fluctuating wildly," she reported to General Blackwood's hologram. "I've never seen anything like this before." As Nathan and Kira's minds delved deeper into the progenitor database, they uncovered a startling revelation. The Harvesters, once a peaceful species, had been transformed by a corrupted version of the very technology that now protected the solar system. This knowledge sparked an idea in their shared consciousness, a way to end the conflict once and for all. With their enhanced abilities, Nathan and Kira began to modify the defense network. They channeled the ancient intelligence's power, fine-tuning the system to emit a specialized energy pulse. This pulse, calibrated to the Harvester's unique biology, held the key to reversing the corruption that had driven them to conquer and consume. As the modifications neared completion, Lyra's voice crackled over the intercom. "Whatever you're doing, it's affecting the entire system. The energy readings are off the charts." Nathan and Kira paid no heed to the warning, their focus absolute as they prepared to unleash the pulse. In a blinding flash of light, the defense network released a wave of energy that swept across the solar system. The effect on the Harvester fleet was immediate and dramatic. Ship after ship powered down, their weapons falling silent as the pulse washed over them. On Phobos, Zexlor and the other defectors experienced a profound change. Memories of their species' peaceful past resurfaced, breaking through the haze of corruption that had clouded their minds for centuries. Zexlor's voice, filled with a mixture of awe and remorse, came through on the communication channels. "It's working, the pulse. It's restoring us to what we once were. We remember now, all of it." As the fighting ceased, Nathan and Kira's consciousness extended an invitation to the Harvester leaders. Their minds reached out across the vast expanse of space, offering a chance for understanding and reconciliation. To their surprise and relief, the Harvester command accepted. In an instant, their consciousness merged with Nathan and Kira's within the vast network of progenitor technology. The hybrid pair found themselves in a mental landscape unlike anything they had experienced before, a space where thoughts and emotions took on tangible form. Within this shared mindscape, Nathan and Kira facilitated a dialogue between the Alliance leaders and the Harvesters. They watched as centuries of misunderstanding and conflict began to unravel, replaced by a growing sense of empathy and cooperation. The Harvester leaders, their minds now free from the corrupting influence of the twisted progenitor tech, expressed deep remorse for their actions. Images of worlds they had consumed flashed through the shared consciousness, accompanied by waves of regret and a burning desire to make amends. As the negotiations progressed, Nathan and Kira felt a growing unease. Their extended immersion in the progenitor interface was taking its toll. They could feel their bodies changing, becoming conduits for the ancient technology. The line between their human selves and the vast network they inhabited grew increasingly blurred. With a final push, they guided the Alliance and Harvester leaders to a consensus. A framework for lasting peace took shape, built on mutual understanding and a commitment to healing the scars of war. As the shared mindscape began to fade, Nathan and Kira initiated the process of disconnecting from the progenitor interface. But something had changed. They found themselves unable to fully separate from the technology that now coursed through their very being. The chamber door slid open with a hiss, releasing a cloud of glowing mist. Nathan and Kira stumbled out, supporting each other as they adjusted to their transformed bodies. Their skin shimmered with a metallic sheen, and their eyes glowed with the power of the progenitor tech. Lyra rushed forward to steady them, her expression a mixture of concern and amazement. "Nathan, Kira, are you all right? What happened in there?" Before they could respond, the control room erupted in cheers. Holographic displays showed the Harvester fleet standing down, their ships now surrounded by Alliance vessels in a peaceful formation. The solar system, which had stood on the brink of annihilation, now pulsed with the promise of a new beginning. As Nathan and Kira gazed at each other, taking in their altered appearance, they realized that their journey was far from finished. The power they now wielded and the changes they had undergone would shape not only their future, but the destiny of the entire solar system. With the immediate threat neutralized, they turned their attention to the challenges that lay ahead, integrating the Harvesters into the Alliance, accelerating the terraforming of Mars and Venus, and exploring the full potential of the progenitor technology now intertwined with their very existence.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.